Drink water. Can't stress that enough. Here you are, this forsaken place, a stupid place, full of stupid people chasing earthly pleasures. Here's what it is. Here's what it is. It's strike on bots matches. We got strikes on bots matches. 3 strikes, you're out. It's wood from well-managed forest, whatever that means. Diamond is the perfect match for all your fire starting needs. Easy to light, strong, sturdy splint. Burns clean with minimal smoke, ideal for lighting candles, stoves, grills, fireplaces, campfires, and more. It is what it is. Over 135 years, American consumers have known the Diamond brand means quality and excellence in a wide variety of products. That's why we are truly dedicated to customer satisfaction. Here, Richie Olsen, sponsored by Match Company. Here at Stupid Place, we only use diamond matches, the best stuff. When it's time for a cigar, it's time for diamond. Richie's got a Bugatti now. That's right. I just read about diamond matches. Here's what it is. Oh, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't even know why I'm here. What a stupid place. What a stupid place. I guess what I want to find out tonight is now that I established the baseline for that Joy De Nicaragua, Antonio, of that 5-pack that Max gave me. We had the smallest ones, the Corona. Now we're jumping up to the fattest, well, almost the fattest, the 54. But it's the biggest one, 54 by 6. So it's a tremendous cigar, 6 by 54. And I can't stress it enough. These cigars are the opposite of Padron. They are very heavily packed. And this is not heavy because of moisture in this case. These Joy de Nicaraguas, not all cigars are the same. They're so fully packed. I don't know how they fit all that tobacco in there. Can't see it. But there is an immense amount of tobacco in these Joy de Nicaragua Antonio series. And it is what it is. So it is what it is. Very well made, very nice looking, and that foot smell. I mean, it's such a musky barbecue, mesquite, pungent, a little sweetness in there, but like almost like a barbecue sauce sweetness. You know, barbecue sauce, they add a little sugar to it, but it doesn't sound like a chocolate or candy sweetness, more molasses. It's a pungent foot smell. These are Nicaraguan puros. Pretty sure on that. Uh, you're gonna love these cigars or hate them. They're unique to themselves. No other brand feels like that. So it really reminds me of Lafroig Scotch. You're gonna love it or hate it. I enjoy it. I think it's interesting. But if you're looking like a classic Nicaraguan cigar, like a My Father, or some with tons of earth, chocolate, black pepper, it's not that kind of party. I'm trying to decide how much I need to cut, and I decided to go small on this. We'll see. Saturday night is, you think it's the party night? Well, it is party night for going out. Saturday night is generally my most quiet night here in the lounge. Saturday night, people just chilling, man. With those people watching a fight or something. And it is what it is. Oh, that's pungent. Look at that. What a beautiful match. Slow burning. Diamond matches. Fantastic. That's a pungent cigar. Pungent. As we slowly toast this. What's up, Bruce? What's up? How you doing? How you doing? It is what it is. Oh, the wind took out that one. Wow, the wind took out that one too. Okay, not doing good. Now, I gotta say, these were only 97 cents a box, which in this day and age seems very affordable. But it was very hard to find them at Walmart, and there was only like 6 boxes for an entire Walmart, for an entire town, which means they don't want people having access to making their own heat or fire. They want you relying on the system. I mean, 6 boxes for an entire town. That's it. I mean, there's more bags of Doritos than matches. But I guess cupcakes and Twinkies are more important. Let me tell you something. If the lights go out, you're going to want to be able to start a fire, stay warm, or cook your food, or who knows, make a torch so you can see. But no, no, you guys stocked up on Twinkies. Ding dong. I'm getting the weirdest. The wind's coming in like a stupid angle. Oh, you're probably right about that because they buy all the matches and they make meth. You're right. I'll tell you what, surprising. I didn't cut that much off the torpedo. And it's drawing fun. So this will be the review of the Joya De Nicaragua Antonio, but the fat Bellicoso Toro. Yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes when I come on like on Saturday, it's so quiet. I don't even know if they put out notice that the channel's on. But it is what it is. Initial impression is a medium plus. Well, it's going to be stronger than that. It's an odd cigar. It's not like you think. It's a pretty strong cigar, but it's not. It's more pungent in odd flavor. I can't stress that enough. It's the classic Nicaragua stuff. You get lots of earth and lots of black pepper. It's not that kind of party. This is a funky, crazy cigar. It really is. I can't stress that enough. Texas, what's up? Is what it is. Mm-hmm. That's the birthday boy. Yeah, it's already punching right now. It's about medium to full right now. It's a heavy finish. It's a different kind of strength, though. It really pushes the oddity. It's strange. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's a strange cigar. Wow. Mhm. Rich charred wood, funky, funky, like sweet, sour, mesquite notes, strange. This black pepper was not the major note. It's a bizarre cigar. There's some kind of syrupy sweetness to it. Um, it feels very similar to the small one. We'll see how that if that changes though. So it has that consistency though. I'm telling you, when you generally change the size, you change the blend. And I got to give it to Joya. The experience on the small one, as far as the profile, is very similar to this in the 6x54. So from a 42 to a 54, maybe we'll see if it changes the intensity. But at the same time, the profile feels very similar. So if you like one, you'll like the other. If you don't like one, you won't like the other. Because in this case, they must have really tweaked. See, a lot of companies will make one size and then they'll just go, add a little more, take a little away, bigger, smaller. It's more complicated to change a cigar as you change the blend to try to keep it similar to the original intent. And some companies do that. I've seen situations where companies talk about when they go larger, they're going to add some more Lajero and upgrade the Seiko to more Lajero, and in this case, in the filler, to compensate for the larger size. And I got to say, man, for a larger size cigar, the density of the tobacco in here is impressive. And I let this out for I think a day or two. I mean, so this is just pure tobacco weight. What's up, Johnny? Much appreciated, brother. So it's a very impressive weight of a cigar. Um, they put a lot of tobacco on this shit. I'll tell you what, this doesn't normally happen. But I'm gonna tell you what, at this point, it feels this size in 6x54 is stronger than the smaller one off the initial impression. It's coming in harder. You take that how you want. Normally, that's never the case. Normally, a cigar in 42 gauge, 5 inches, Corona is going to be stronger than a 6x54 Bellicose. In this case, it's stronger right now in the bigger one. So that's interesting. Johnny, what's up, brother? So we've taken this journey now with the Joya in Nicaragua, a cigar that I think a lot of people might overlook. It's a unique cigar. It's been around probably longer than anyone here. It's been around a long time. Um, it's refreshing. If you like Lafroig Scotch, an odd, bizarre, unique experience, kind of like a bearded lady before it was so normal. When a bearded lady was a night at the carnival. Oh, look at that! Wow, wow, that's that was a fun carnival, Dad. Now it's like don't say anything. Here's what it is. A lot of cuatro, cinco, uno. Well, you gotta smoke what you like, Texas. Sean, what's up, brother? Here's what it is. Give me a second. Hey, if you like the cigar, you like it. That cigar wasn't for me, but if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. Who's here? Who's this guy, huh? Who's this guy, huh? Who are you, huh? Yeah, diesel. Well, it depends with diesel too. The Whiskey Road diesels is a whole bunch. The newest one is the best one. There's a new one, Boxer Grill. That was amazing. Boxer Grill was amazing. I'm gonna tell you what. I mean, this cigar has a presence with such weight to this tobacco, and it's burning rather slowly and with such a heavy finish. As you look at it, it's almost a feat where you're like, you're in for a doozy. On this big fat cigar, 6 by 54, I make it look small because I have big hands. But that's a 6 by 54. It's so dense, and it's such a different cigar. If you don't like this blend, you're gonna hate it because it's really unique. It's really different. I can't. Yeah, we talked about it with PG. It really is more of an exotic cigar. I will say this though: this larger size compared to the smaller, the larger size is stronger and heavier, but it is also sweeter compared to the smaller. Um, that mesquite charred wood, I mean, such a heavy charred mesquite barbecue feeling, presence. I don't know how they did this on that cigar without an artificial, like, barbecue kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Do they make barbecue cologne? Barbecue cologne, some guys would wear that. But when they have those fire cured cigars, the Kentucky fire cured, which is a Drew Estate, right? Um, it feels like that, but in a natural sense. It's natural. It's not. It's not artificial flavoring on this, but it's not. You don't normally get this at all from any naturally made cigars. So it makes you wonder, what is everyone else doing, or what are they doing? Yeah, exactly. But here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. Back then, Drew Estate cigars were made um, with Joya De Nicaragua. Now maybe they have their own factory. I don't know. The black pepper spice is more bold on this larger size. Everything is more bolder on this larger size. And that's really interesting. Cigar's a lot to handle. It's not the strongest Nicaraguan cigar I ever had, but the presence is so strong because the flavor that it has is so bold, and the flavor that it has is so different. Even though I just had this 3 days ago, it really messes with your mind. 70%. It's on the darker side. Not as dark as a Maduro. It feels more like a darker sun grown. And right now, the strength is at medium full. And the cigar is rather smooth. But here's the thing, you're not going to be ready for the profile. You're not going to be ready for the profile is really different. And that's going to probably turn a lot of people away. Most guys would have this profile and be like, "Nah, I don't know. That's not for me." See, for me, I'm adapted to the cigar. I try to see what is it doing and when would I use this. This should be a great cigar to have once a month as a reset. Because when you have this, you would forget about all the profiles, and then you come back to the cigars you've been doing normally, and it's refreshing. If you constantly do Padron 26s and those kind of dark, three-quarter strength, chocolate earth, black pepper, I mean, very rich in quality, but those kind of profiles consistently, which are very easy to love, but you can almost take it for granted. You do this once in a while, it's a factory reset. This should be called the factory reset. Because you do this, you're like, I don't know what's going on here. And then you come back to the cigars you normally have, you're like, oh, what's this? Um, this will make you forget about everything else. Whether you like it or not, it's irrelevant. I'm just telling you, when you smoke this cigar, it's a cleanse. It's very complex, Johnny. It's a very complex, but it's not just complex. What's the key thing I've been stressing on this? It's odd. It's a bizarre cigar. I can't play. It's a strange cigar, and as you smoke it, it changes. So, what's the key thing on this cigar? I'm trying to stress to you guys. Exotic. This would be my kid. The category exotic and very. That's the least category. You have the classic Connecticut side, classic Maduro, classic sun grown as far as traditional profiles. That no matter what brand, they generally go into that kind of category, and no matter what's the brand, they're generally giving similar notes, plus or minus, at a similar strength, plus or minus, right? So it is what it is. This breaks the mold. Is that good or bad? To me, it doesn't matter. I can't say this is not going to be. This is not going to be for everyone. I think a lot of people they're going to be turned off, like just like if you had Lafroig Scotch. Lafroig Scotch is unique, stands alone in the Scotch community. That helps it and hurts it. Some people love it. Some people just dabble in it once in a while, like, whoa, shit. I enjoyed it, but I also wouldn't want Lafroig every day. You shouldn't be drinking every day, but you get what I'm trying to say. Well, I mean, I don't know the math, Texas, but you got some time. Here's the thing, B Lane. If you just got it today, B Lane, if you just got it today, you might not want to have it. And I'm not talking about you got to leave it for 6 weeks in the humidor. It might just be too moist. If you just got it today, you might. See, for James, Jimmy says he hates it. Now, if you just got a cigar from Seabed, you might want to take it out of the cellophane and let it rest overnight to shred some moisture. Yeah, what do you want, Anthony? What do you want? It is what it is. Nobody cares. This the symbol is three leaves and three seeds. You can't see the seeds. Um, it is what it is. It's a classic band, Joya De Nicaragua. They're very well made. The quality's there. The construction's there. Um, and it is a master blend. I really like the cigar. Jimmy, what the fuck do you want me to do, Jimmy? You trying to go into the 300 club? Jimmy's like, I hate that cigar. I love that cigar. It is so windy out tonight. It's really windy. Is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Nobody cares. So that's all I have to say about the cigar. Bold, unique, complex, transitioning, it changes. Heavy, very slow burning, very heavy for its size, very dense. The opposite of Padron. So if you want something totally opposite Nicaraguan than Padron, and like everyone else, try a Joya De Nicaragua. Joya. Richie took the shot. Richie, are you okay? Did you get your booster? They put it in my phones. What a stupid place. It is what it is. I don't know why I'm here. I don't like this place. Dream Life. Are you coming on, Dream Life? So far, I invited 2 people on tonight. Yeah, what am I going to sit here by myself? What a stupid place. It's a cigar lounge. Think I have to entertain you? I'm not getting paid for this. I go, Richie's just gonna like dance. Richie's like, Richie's just like juggling balls. Richie, make us laugh. It's not a comedy club. It's not a 2-drink minimum. Jason, don't you understand this fucking show? I can't do Dimension X if I have the cape. There's 2 kind of lives. If I have the chance to invite people, I can't do Dimension X. I don't set up the rules. If I set up a comment only live, then I can do Dimension X. If I set up where I can have people on, Dimension X. Yeah. How about now? You want some pizza, Caleb? You want some pizza? You want
Got
some
pizza? Got some pizza?
You want some pizza?
I didn't even see you invited me until you said it.
Nobody gives a shit.
And then I went and looked, and I was like, "Did she invited me?"
You
Who
know,
is
Saturday
this?
Saturday night's the worst life. Like I'm tired. I mean, it's a good tired. I got to relax and sleep in today. And what the hell did I do? I don't know. I was like in my underwear till like 12 o'clock. Cleaned up the apartment. Took a nice hot shower. I had to go to the store. That was it. And I went out for Chinese with the missus at a Chinese. It's like a diner. It's
Right.
actually the only decent Chinese out here, and it's like it looks like a Long Island diner. If that makes any sense, but it's a Chinese restaurant. So and the food comes out like in 3 seconds. You're like, yeah, we'll take the steamed dumplings, and literally it's like hot as fresh, like everything, because they know what people would want. So everything is ready, fresh, made to order. It just comes out super fast, and then you order your meal, and no joke, 3.5, 4 minutes. Like how the hell? And it's like the freshest shit you ever. Like it's the most efficient. Like they're not playing around in that kitchen. You cannot be lazy in that kitchen. Like I don't even want to see what's in the kitchen, but it's probably discipline.
Everything's 10-minute here. 10-minute.
Yeah,
And you get Chinese. 10-minute.
and that's not like I said. So for Colorado, if for New York, it would be fast. So in Colorado, I can't. It's not really a takeout place. You could take out, but like I said, the setup it looks like a diner, and which is not normal because normally Chinese is takeout only. Maybe you could sit down there, like 4 chairs. That's about it. But that was the one, and that's been there like 30 years. So I gotta say that's the one good Chinese place. And it's actually now that I thought about it, I'm looking forward to those leftovers after this cigar. Did you ever realize that moment where you're like, oh shit, we got some Chinese leftovers?
Chinese leftovers are the best.
And but those the worst. You go in there and somebody else ate them. You're like, motherfucker. Like you were counting on that and it's gone. And you're like, who did this shit? You know.
This cigar isn't bad. I haven't had one of these before.
What are you smoking?
It's a Charter Oak.
Oh, I've said that for years.
Habano.
All the
Habano.
Charter Oaks are good, and the Habano is the strongest one, though.
Never had it.
It's not a bad cigar. I recommend that cigar like 5 years ago. That review's not on no more because I deleted all my Long Island reviews. But you can take my word, and Richie doesn't lie. That cigar I really enjoyed. I enjoyed them all. The Charter Oak Connecticut is what it is. It's Connecticut. But if you have them in a smaller size like Corona, it's true Connecticut. You know, it's not a Connecticut seed Ecuadorian, and it's actually really good quality. Nick Malio said on that cigar he wanted to make it as a gift because he makes higher end stuff with the Tabernacle and etc. The Olmec.
Mm-hmm.
When he made that cigar, he wanted to make it cut some cost on the band. The band's a piece of shit, and the box is a piece of shit. So by cutting those two costs, right? And basically, there's a Connecticut version, a Maduro version, and the Habano version. Kind of like what Perdomo does, just same cigar, whatever, and just different brands, wrappers. But the quality's there on them, and they sell. I mean, normally at the stores, $6-7. I mean, I don't know what you paid for. What'd you pay for it?
It came in a sample.
Okay.
To get in Dubai, I had to get this.
Okay. That's not bad. Did you let it out for a day or two? Is it dry?
It was out for 3 days.
Say again?
It was out for 3 days.
Oh, so it's ready.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Ready to be smoked.
Oh yeah, the drawer is excellent.
Yeah, but I mean, you can tell. I mean, if you paid $7 at a lounge for that, I mean, like, you'd have a good time. It's one of the few cheaper offerings that's actually better than the price point. That doesn't happen a lot at a lounge. On the internet, even better price.
I think I was just reading. It's blended by AJ.
Everything Nick Malio doesn't make cigars. He doesn't have a factory. For the most part, everything that Nick Malio has, I believe, is made at AJ Fernandez's house. At his.
Right.
So, but it doesn't say it though, because I think Nick Malio is a little more bougie, and I don't think he wants AJ's name on it. Which I get it, but also to keep it such a secret is kind of like, what are you, embarrassed? I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I tell you, it's right there, and it just picked up like it's beautiful. It really is.
I remember it being
pretty
bold and pretty spicy, right? I remember it being pretty good.
Well, I just had a Don Carlos. That was a little spicier.
Interesting. Well, especially because you're coming off the last third. The last third of a Don Carlos picks up.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting the true intent on that because your palate's not completely clean. But that's not a bad cigar to have beforehand. It's not like it's going to ruin your palate, So.
Yeah, the last third on the Don Carlos, my whole mouth was numb. My lips were numb. It's a beautiful cigar, though.
Fuente really does like a movie. First act, second act, and closing act. Fuente's closing act on all of his cigars, it's how he designs them. You know what I'm saying? Though, and I respect that. But they really do that. Where Padron's like, nah. Padron's like, this is the third act the entire time. So one's not better or worse. It depends on just how you want to tell a story.
I think I'm going to buy more of these. I like them.
You should. You don't ever smoke Connecticut's or no?
No, not really.
Okay, so then, but if you did,
I've had this in Connecticut though, and I remember getting cotton candy from it.
Did you ever try in the Corona size of the small one?
No.
The Corona one, it really is nice, buttery black pepper. It reminds me of popcorn. So it's, I mean, if you're not truly a Connecticut fan, then don't do that. But if you have to get one, though, try it in Corona. But the Maduros are good too. But I remember of the three, the Habano I think was my favorite because it was the strongest of the three. Because none of them are really super strong. It's because the way it's blended, and obviously to make it strong with more Lajero, the price would go up, right? But I remember the Habano being the most bold, and I haven't had it in years though.
I didn't know there was a Maduro. Maybe this is the Maduro then. See, they give it to you in a pack and they don't tell you what it is.
Oh, I'm
I
gonna tell you right
I
now.
presumed it was
How dark?
the.
How dark is it? I can't. I can't.
It's very dark.
So that might be the
This
Maduro.
might be the Maduro. Yeah.
So what you're gonna do is go online and look at some pictures, because generally speaking, you don't confuse Habano for Maduro. Although this is a Habano Oscuro, so it's like a very dark brown. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Though? So
It's about the same as the Joya. That darkness.
yeah, but the Joya, I don't think it's Maduro. I don't know. I don't think. I don't even know what the Joya is. I forget the blend of the Joya.
Hmm.
It's no that yours look darker.
It's
Maybe
it's it
let
looks
me see.
pretty
Look,
dark, right?
yeah, the yours looks darker.
Alexa, fan on.
Yeah, so you'd have to find out. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely dark. That's the Maduro. If that's
Is it?
not the Maduro, I don't know, man. Look up online, save the band because maybe the band is a different color. Is there black on the band?
No, no. It's just
Okay,
all orange and
okay.
like a goldish.
Yeah, that's one of the best budget cigars. That's better than the price point. Like I have no problem smoking those. I used to smoke them a lot in the Maduro or the smaller size. I used to take lunch breaks. When I used to work in New York, I would take like my lunch break plus I would take like a half hour of like leave, and I
Right.
combine them, and I go for, and then I also would take my 15-minute, which is really a 25-minute coffee break. I would take it late, so I would leave at like 10 o'clock and come
Hmm.
back like at 12. You know what I'm saying though? And man, I go somewhere in Northport, and I buy one of those at the local shop, hang out, have a coffee, and sit by the river in Northport, like a little creek. And I would just sit there, man. And I'm like, wow, I'm getting paid for this. And those little moments like that would kind of,
Right.
you know, it was like $6, $5.99. You could, that's,
Yeah, you can't beat that.
no, no.
Alexa, fan off.
So you're gonna have to find out. Either way, I recommend all three. The Maduro and the Habano I liked even better, but for Connecticut, it's a really nice true Connecticut. You're not gonna find another true Connecticut at that price point. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's really good Connecticut tobacco, Nick Leo. I don't know why you never see. Like I said, multiple people told me that his stuff is made by AJ, and I'm almost positive on that because I thought his stuff was made by my father, by no, by someone else. I'm getting confused, but yeah, so I was like, no, it's AJ Fernandez, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. So he never talks about. I've never seen Nick Leo talk about AJ Fernandez.
Yeah, when I pulled it out, I went online to see what wrapper it was, and I only found the Maduro in the Connecticut. I didn't see, I mean not the Maduro, the Habano in the Connecticut. I didn't see a Maduro, and when I read it, it said it was blended by AJ
Yeah.
or rolled in AJ's factory, one or the other.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. It's definitely. Now I don't know how it works with Nick Leo. If he designs everything and AJ's like, yeah, I'll see what I can do, or if he goes to AJ and they work together, or it's like I'm sure he's part of the blending process because
Hmm.
Nick Leo, I think he was part of the League of Number Nine, so I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like Nick Leo is not a fly by night. He's a young guy, but
Hmm.
he worked with Steve Saka for like I don't know how many years. So I think you know, I think he's a good blender.
Yeah, definitely enjoying it more than I thought it would.
What are you getting out of it right now?
It's very sweet. I don't know. I don't have a refined palate like you. I
Well,
know it's a good cigar,
okay,
but
I get what you're saying.
flavors
How long is the finish? Is the finish quick or is it stays around?
not short. Very,
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
pretty short.
Right. So that's a sign of, generally speaking, it's not going to be a very strong cigar. Generally, the stronger the cigar, the longer the finish. Generally speaking, but sometimes it doesn't happen though.
Mhm.
But also, you're early in the cigar too, and it's Churchill, so that could change as you build up with it. Um, yeah, but I have nothing. I've never said anything bad about Charter Oaks, and they sell. Look, I mean, Charter Oaks been out for over 5 years, I think, and If that means if they've been out for over 5 years, they're selling. Because if cigar doesn't sell, they'll be gone in a
Yeah,
year. You know, I mean, um, that's the kind of cigar you can take the band off, and if you gave it out to someone,
yeah,
they wouldn't know it's a $5 cigar. That's a really good cigar.
it's really good.
Yeah, I feel like you're having the Maduro though, because getting that much sweetness, generally out of a classic Habano, you're not getting tons of sweetness. So I feel like you're smoking the Maduro,
Yeah,
which would make more sense.
yeah. It's not just sweet. It's tons of sweet.
Yeah, in my expert opinion, and
Right.
by the color of it, that has to be the Maduro because generally Habanos you get more classic, sourdough, pungent, black pepper, maybe some earth, lots of rich cedar, that kind of stuff. Um, lip puckering, like bittersweet,
No,
twangy,
none of that.
like a fermented kind of feeling. Um, whereas the Maduros you generally get chocolate or fig and black pepper and earth, and that generally speaking, give or take, but um, yeah,
Yeah, there's
I like
really
that.
no black pepper.
What's that?
There's no black pepper on this whatsoever. And
It's
I
not
taste.
very high priming. None of those cigars are really strong in the Charter Oak because once again the price point, and they're blended more for everyday smoking, relaxing. So across the board, you're not going to get a very cheap, well-made cigar that's also very strong. You could get an inexpensive cigar that's well-made and not that strong because lower priming. If you want a cheap, expensive cigar, though, you're going to get like a Master Blends 3 because Master Blends 3 is inexpensive and it's very strong. But what happens to very strong tobacco? How do you get it cheap? You don't age it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying though. So you can't get a very strong cigar that's also going to be smooth if it's really cheap because fermenting and aging costs a lot of time and money. Because why? You can't sell it. You're gonna have to age it for 4 for 5 years, and to make that much product, you're gonna have to sit around for that much time. You got to factor in the price. What did that cost you? And now you got to make your money back, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with a Master Blends 3, but you got to understand it's like a young Scotch or like a cheap champagne. Like you're
Right.
gonna have fun, but it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, the Master Blend 3 to me is like it's similar to an Oliva, but not not as smooth.
Yeah, I know. And now,
An Oliva V.
yeah, if I never had it sit around for like 4 years, so I could age it and then see. But even when you take, okay, aging at home is different than aging even in an aging room, or even obviously the best is fermentation in the bales. From there, because that's aging the tobacco. Aging a cigar once it's rolled in an aging room with thousands of cigars with a control in this huge cedar rooms. That helps marry the cigar. That does help, smooth it out for 2 years. And that, oh yeah. But then aging in your house, yeah, 3 or 4 years will help change the cigar, but at a much lesser rate.
Yeah.
And then, but you can never fool yourself to thinking if you get a cheap cigar, let's say it's aged a year and a half or 2 years of the tobacco, and like 3 months in agement,
Right.
you can't let that sit in your humidor for 5 years thinking it's going to turn into a Padron 26. That's not the way it works. But you know what I'm saying, though? That's not the way it works. So there's only so much you could do with your time in a humidor, and it does affect some stuff. But even if you give it a lot of time, it's not going to. I've never seen cigars jump tier. Meaning, if something is a yard cigar and you gave it 5 years, it's not going to be a great mid tier cigar. It will never be. It'll just be a easier to smoke yard cigar. If you take a great mid tier cigar and you let it sit for 3 or 4 years or something like that, and in your opinion you want it to be more smoother, now it'll just be a smoother, still great mid tier.
Still, yeah,
It's never going to jump up to be a Davidoff. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It
My
does.
six, my 64s haven't turned into 26s yet.
Yeah, and I don't think
They're not.
it ever will because it'll just become a lighter version of a 64. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like whatever they do from the factory, the fermentation process. Once they rolled in the cigar, it's set, and then basically time just makes it eventually weaker. If that makes any sense. It's
Mhm.
never going to make it. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost the time just takes away from what it is. Because what it is what it is. A 64 is never going to be 26.
No.
So
And I find that The Padrones. A lot of them. I have a lot that have been sitting in my humidor 5, 6 years, and I just cracked the box open now, and it tastes like they did originally.
Say
Like
again?
just as if I just bought the box, like a '64. Even though
Interesting.
they've been in my humidor for 5 years, they still taste the same to me.
Interesting.
To a new one.
But also that in that situation, they were in a sealed box,
Yes.
and that
Yeah.
definitely helps because they're not in cellophane. They're only with the same kind of tobacco. You know what I'm saying? Though I
Hmm.
think if that was in an open air humidor with other cigars, um, time would affect it more. I think. You know what I'm saying? Though leaving it sealed in the box is more like a time capsule. You know what I'm saying? Though
Yeah, I
because
agree.
it's only ruminating with like kind. If that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
it's so yeah.
So that'd be interesting to see if you had stuff just laying around as a Lucia, how that would affect it. Um, but when you see that flavor tastes the same, but was the finish just as long? Every aspect was the same? Because generally, what I see with cigars with aging, but I haven't had a lot of aged Padrones, though, because
Right.
people just smoke their Padrones. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, um, generally with cigars I normally have, if they had like 5 years or more, the finish just becomes even. If it had a long finish, now it becomes quieter. If it was a
Right.
heavy finish, it becomes less heavy. So even if I have similar flavors, generally first thing that dies down is the finish and the heaviness and the length. And then if you really age it really long, then the actual strength goes down too. That's what I've
Right.
seen cigars age. I've had cigars age 20 years, and at that point, the finish and the length is gone.
Right.
It's just a whisper of what it is, and you can
Hmm.
swallow the smoke, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't have any 20 years, but I do notice that with other cigars that are loose in my humidor.
Yeah.
Not boxes though.
Yeah, and once again, I've never had
All my Padrones are in boxes and closed.
yeah, I've never had a 20-year Padron.
Yeah.
I almost don't know if I want one because if what I'm saying is if nothing changed, you're like, well, what was the point of that?
Hmm.
Because at the same time, like if you were saving it to see, was it, and if it did change, you're like, and it got weaker, you're like, nah, I want my Padron strong. So I think Padron, you have them if you want to save them, sure, but I think Padrones are ready to go out the box, and people that smoke Padron, they want it to be strong. You know, they want it to be bold. You know, so if you save them, it's just because you have a lot of them. You know,
I just have a lot. That's the
yeah,
only
yeah.
reason why.
Like if you
I'm
only
not
have
aging
one,
them.
yeah, if you have one box, like don't save it. It's not what I mean. It's not a special cigar. Meaning it's readily available. It's not like 64, 26. You couldn't find them and replace them. So you know, just smoke your best shit and enjoy it. You know, I mean. Now, if you're
Yeah.
talking about like a box of 50th or something, and maybe want to smoke one a year just because of the price, I can understand that.
Hmm.
But it'd be amazing if you let, and we can't say across the board they'd all age the same. What if you had 26s and you let them sit 5 years? And what if they went flat? What if they got too weak and you got pissed off?
Oh, I
As you
would.
age something that long, I would try one once a year or twice a year to see, oh, are these dropping too much in strength? Or, you know what I'm saying? They're like almost like testing them because what if you had a whole yield of cigars that not all cigars, in a sense, age the same. You know,
Hmm.
like they have a peak, and then all of a sudden, generally, it's a violent drop off. I remember seeing this whole chart. This guy in England was talking about cigars, and they had all this like formula testing, if that makes any sense. Oh, and they tested tobacco, and all this shit, and generally, it was like maintaining peak, and certain, and sometimes cigars will actually get a little stronger with just a little time on it, and then there was a certain peak, and then like some cigars would just drop off, and like
Right.
now for some people that's where they love it, like oh it's so smooth, and you're like
Right.
you lost all the balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it depends on perspective too, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not trying to age my Padrones. I just have too many. I've been
Mm.
trying to smoke more. I know it's a bad problem to have. I just have too many.
It's just they charge for rent and utilities to spend time in Asia. Yeah, there's that place in England, bro. I mean, people have cigars in there. Um, that are just investments. Like people buy and trade the investment. So they have cigars in there from the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Though? I'm talking about $50,000 a box, and it's just like people buy them and they just transfer ownership,
Right.
and, or they inherit them. And I mean, yeah, they pay a lot of money to keep them there because the
Yeah.
value.
I'm pretty sure I know what place you're talking about. I've seen videos on it. They have the cellar full.
Dude, I mean that's you got to have a yacht. That's for
Yeah.
ultra rich. That's a that kind of when you have safety deposit boxes and somebody checking on them and they're insured in case of a fire or something
Mhm.
or theft. It's at that point that's a luxury of ultra rich. I mean you got to I mean if you got $1 million in cigars, not even like it's at a vault, you know. But I mean
Oh,
it is an interesting piece of history. I mean
oh yeah.
shit, I mean, at that point, they're probably never going to smoke them, you know? Yeah. You know, I mean, who's he talking about? Nate Diaz. Was there a fight tonight? Was the Nate Diaz fight tonight? It wasn't
Not,
there. Aren't they going to fight soon? The Nate Diaz and the kid from the internet?
not me. I don't watch much for them. I
Well,
went to
yeah.
a carnival. I went to a carnival tonight in Sayville with the grandchildren.
Oh, it's tonight, bro. I'm excited for that, though. I'm just going to watch the recap. I'm not going to watch it live. I'm only excited because I want to see Jake Paul get destroyed. Uh, he said fake boxing. Well, we'll see if there's blood. I don't think Nate Diaz is going to fake. I think Nate Diaz he's doing it for the money because he's going to get paid more money than he ever did in MMA, which he made money in MMA, but not like this. You know, he's talking about one fight. I doubt he's going to take the same beating as he did with MMA with heavier gloves. He's used to getting choked out and getting his face all broken in. So, but don't get me wrong. I mean, this Jake Paul guy. I mean, he is training. He is working with legitimate people. So, I mean, at the end of the day, and anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? No, but I mean, it's two grown men, duking it out. But who knows? If he's not going in there trying to kill him, then you can tell he got paid off just to put on a show. But I'd like to see this guy Jake Paul get smothered. You know. Does anybody have a live feed on that? Is the fight right now? What's generally the fights are on late, right? Like
Yeah.
it's in California, so what time they start? 10 o'clock.
I think the main events and that stuff are usually 10, 11 New York time.
So
And
who are you gonna put your money on? Uh, Nate or the professional MMA guy who he's a badass, or the internet TV show host.
not the TV show host.
Yeah, I mean it would be more of an upset if Nate loses. Jake Paul said 10 million.
Uh,
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I mean, I think I'm getting 3.5 million for me and Gio when we fight in Queens.
I was just gonna say that. How much is the pay per view for you and Gio?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
HBO will pick it up.
bro. If we made $300, it'd be a good night. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would take Gio out in the first. It's not going to be cinematic. He's a nice guy, so
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. There's not going to be any fight.
No, no, no.
You know?
Maybe a little play fighting.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. He's not going to want to play too much because I've been around a lot of tough grown men, and they say I play too rough. So he's not. Gio's not a tough guy. So it's not like I'm not gonna lie. My hands are dangerous. Like I'm no one to be fucked with. Like he's we're not gonna roughhouse because there's a thin line between playing around and escalating. So I'll pick him up. We'll joke around and we'll smoke a cigar. I
Your
don't. I
hand,
don't.
your hands are dangerous. That cigar, I thought it was a Corona.
This is it's a
I
six
know it's
by
not.
it's a 6 by 54. So
I know.
like, no,
But
I got tremendous hands. Like
when you said that before, I'm like, what?
yeah, I have a tremendous skull. So I mean, It's in my
Gotta
hands.
have the
My hands are heavy, man. Like the
right.
knuckles, the knuckles are no joke. Like it's gonna really hit hard. Like it's not gonna be good. Like it's. I used to punch a lot of concrete just to toughen my hands up. Like
I have little hands, but they're all damaged.
yeah, I
And
noticed that. What does it happen from work?
from work, whenever the guys are working on a bench and have a problem, I jump on a bench and help them. And I always seem to be the one that gets hurt. Actually, just recently, I was helping a guy. One of the machines broke down. It actually, you know what an armature is, right? It's a motor, regular, armature. And you cut the bars between it, and it goes around in a circle. It's just a belt. And I was adjusting it, and he turned on the machine while my hand was in it, and I went all the way around the pulley with the belt. Yeah, broke one of my fingers in two spots.
How long ago was that?
Uh, about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Hold on. You don't have a lockout tagout procedure?
No, I know. Now we do.
Come on, bro.
Now we do. For my CNC machines, we do.
Yeah.
But now, not for this machine, we didn't.
Dude, lockout tagout, man. You can't stress that enough. So you do have a lockout tagout now.
Yeah.
And you lock it out. If you're
I lock it out.
that's it. If you that way, if somebody takes it off, then it's a crime. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? No. Yeah. I smoke cigars. Yeah, this is the slow burning cigar, bro. This cigar is gonna kick your ass in the sense of not that it's so strong, but it's overbearing with bizarre flavor. Do you know what I'm talking about? So picture like if you were having like Indian food and you don't normally eat Indian food a lot, and even if it was a good quality restaurant, like, wow, this is good. But you're like, it's so different. Your body's like, I don't know what's happening right now. It's uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Though. But what's crazy is it's such a popular cigar, and obviously it's all around the world. And I'm sure they sell Joya De Nicaraguas everywhere because it's not a Cuban name, so you can sell it everywhere. And it's been around for so long, so someone's smoking them. So what is it about the cigar, and why the hell do they make it so different? I mean, I respect it, but it's not a normal cigar. Like it's really not. Like, and how many thousands of cigars I reviewed? It's really different. So you might love it, you might hate it. Just from smelling the foot, it tells you the foot is exactly how it tastes in this case. When you smell this, you're gonna be like, just next time you get a chance to smell the foot on one of these, smell, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, like it's pungent, like pungently pungent and different. Did you ever have Lafroig Scotch?
No.
It reminds me of that. The question is, do I enjoy it? I do. Was it something I would do every week? No. But I think it's something you could have on the rotation, like I said, as a reset. Because when you have this cigar and you come back to like traditional 3/4 strength, the full strength, darker cigars like a Liga or a Padron or etc. Name any of those cigars that are in that kind of category.
Right.
You're gonna appreciate them more because this takes you so far out the other way. You're like, you almost get lost when you smoke a cigar. You're like, where am I? Like, it's really bizarre. There's no other cigar that feels like this. And so you gotta give them to that. They're doing something. You know what I mean? It's kind of ballsy to make a cigar like this, in my opinion.
So which one you like better? The 54 or the small one? But you have a Corona last time, right? Or you think they're equally blended?
Believe it or not, in some ways I like the 54 better. And the 54, here's the thing, is actually stronger.
Really?
Normally, the smaller is gonna be stronger one. Normally, because normally when you go with bigger cigars, companies get cheap and put a lot more lower priming, cheap fill with tobacco, and especially with a bigger gauge. Dude, this cigar was so heavy, like, and it was, and I let it dry out for 2 days, and it wasn't kept in any moisture before that. It was kept with the 69 Boven one and no cellophane, so this band can come right off. This is so heavy for a Toro. Like, I mean, thick. Like it felt like a rock, but it wasn't like it's drawing fine. It's just there's so much tobacco and really thick, heavy tobacco in it. So,
Right.
which means that they're definitely probably aging in a good amount of time. Because if this wasn't aged, like if this was like a master blend straight, like if it was rough, I couldn't handle a cigar. This as this cigar at a medium to full, and as pungent as it is still smooth because of aging. If this wasn't aged enough, I couldn't do it because it's so
Right.
overbearing at this profile, at this strength. If you would have made this full strength and like too young tobacco where it's just harsh, I couldn't do it. It'd be
Right.
like, oh my god, like so. It is enjoyable, but the mind it goes against the grain. Every puff, your mind's like, what the fuck is this? Like it's like that every puff. It's like well,
Hmm.
if you're watching like a bizarre, like artistic movie. Like you ever seen the movie Jacob's Ladder with
Mm-hmm.
you know that guy he married Susan Sarandon, the guy from the movie where they escape out of prison, the old movie from the what's that called? They escape out of prison. And, it came out in the '90s or 2000s. A really good movie. Who's that actor?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know.
He played a baseball player back in the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, no, the movie Jacob's Ladder will fuck you up. That's a really there's no ground in that movie. Jacob's Ladder is like you can't place it. Is it just a soldier with PTSD? Is it really happening? Is it a mixture of both? Is it happening, but his interpretation is just fucked up? If you watch
Mm-hmm.
that movie Jacob's Ladder, also is it really none of that, but the writer is just kind of putting secret hidden messages about the war and the way they do things, and but they had to make it artistic, so it's like, no, we didn't say that. Basically, if you watch Jacob's Ladder, these guys went to Vietnam, but they didn't go to Vietnam. They sent them somewhere to train, but they poisoned them with this gas. Well, this they want to see. The gas was like to make them super soldiers. But what happened was they all just started killing each other and eating each other. They lost their fucking mind. You know what I'm saying, though? And in the movies, like some of them came back home and they started to remember like, what they did to them, and then the VA and the service is like, oh no, you're fine, or you just want to, it's just so they're all watching them, and the CIA is watching them because they didn't want to keep it because it was a secret project. It was a really fucked up kind of movie, you know what I'm saying? Though, so he was a mailman, he's like, and he was just trying to go to his job, and it's just a really like you can't tell if it really happened or didn't happen. But at the
Right.
whole point of the movie is the government does do testing of these corporations do testing on people without their knowledge lots of times, which is kind of crazy. I mean,
Right.
I wish they would test secret cigars on us. I wouldn't mind that. Like, did you know this is actually an infused cigar? Imagine they made an Opus X infused cigar. You're like, what? Yeah, it's Opus X by Drew Estate. Like, what? Yeah, we took Opus X and we infused it with botanicals from Drew Estate. You're like,
No.
and what if you loved it though? You're like, but that was a great cigar. Why would you do that?
I'm gonna have to get one of them Joys. I have to
Well,
place an order. I'm ready. I'm gonna pick up one of them Joys, a couple different sizes.
you could get them dirt cheap on like Cigar
Yeah.
Paint. You probably pick up a 5 pack for like $25. I mean, that ain't nothing,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, we have Gio Home Alone. Uh, Jacob says you should let this Boulevard dry a bit. Yeah, well, I told you, don't smoke cigars wet. Gio's here. Nobody cares. Gio's just talking about, yeah, Tim Robbins. That's the guy's name. What a great actor. Jacob's Ladder. Watch that movie. It's a very bizarre movie. It's a great movie. Whenever it's on, I'll watch like a half hour. Did you ever watch Get Shorty?
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro. So Get Shorty, 1995. It's got Danny DeVito, John Travolta, a whole bunch of other great actors in like small roles. Oh, even Tony Soprano's in it as a hitman. What a great movie. And it's like a dark comedy.
Right. Right. Right.
And you never seen Get Shorty? You can
No.
watch it for free on your cell phone, like one of those free apps.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check it out, man. I mean, it makes me sad because you're like, wow, they used to make good movies back in the day. Like, I mean, the writing, the direction, even Gene Hackman's in the movie as like a dirty like porno director. Like every guy in the movie was like a really unique character role. Like no one was trying to be the star except Travolta was the star, and that was Travolta on the day game. Travolta in the '90s, he had Pulp Fiction, he had Face Off, he had a few other big action movies, and then he had this one, Get Shorty. He had some great stuff. He had a really revival in the '90s, starting with I guess Pulp Fiction, but it was just a great movie, man. And Danny DeVito is hysterical. He's such a slime ball. Danny DeVito is such a slime ball. He plays a slime ball so good. I watched this movie yesterday with him. Did you ever see the movie? Oh, what's the one with Danny DeVito when it's like about Barney and like, but they kill Barney in the. Oh man, what's okay, guys? I need help with this. It's the guy from American History X. It's got Danny DeVito and Robin Williams, and it's about like Barney, like the kids show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically about in real life all these guys are fucked up and like they're getting arrested or doing drugs but like so it's kind of like behind the scenes in the movie. You know what I'm saying though, and deals with the mafia. But it's a dark comedy. What the hell is it called, dude? You gotta watch those two movies. You're gonna laugh your ass. Like that was a really bizarre movie. What the hell is the name of that movie? Could somebody give me the name of that movie? It's Robin Williams, and it's Danny DeVito, and it's about it's they're pretending to be Barney. What the hell is the name of that movie? I mean, it's not Barney. Technically, it's a different character. It's like a rhinoceros or something like that.
Well, starting to go a little wonky. I touch her up a little bit.
What'd you say?
I had to touch it up. It started going a little wonky on me.
Oh. Well, I let my cigar almost go out because I'm talking too much. Robin Williams was such a great actor, man. But that just goes to show you all that money and fame. He was depressed. And I honestly, I mean, that's serious. I heard things. I think he was repressing what he was. I heard he was 451. And God bless. I don't care if he was, but like he kind of kept that hidden. You know what I'm saying, though? And I think that probably because if you watch him in a lot of his movies, he's kind of feminine. And then he did the whole Mrs. Doubtfire where he dressed up as a woman. And
Right.
so Robin Williams is a great actor. But I heard he was 451, and it makes sense. But from his era, if you were the movie's called Death to Smoochie. That's Death to Smoochie. You got to watch that. So if you're that kind of guy, but from the '80s and couldn't come out, and you had to hide that part, where now it's like everyone is. It's like nobody cares anymore. But so maybe I don't know. I don't know. I can't believe he killed himself.
Yeah, me either. But like you said, you can have all the money in the world. Depression's a real thing.
Sure, especially if he was like that and he couldn't come out and he had to hide that. I mean, especially you can make the whole world laugh and you can't make yourself be happy, which most comedians are depressed. That's why they're so funny, because they want to make other people laugh because they're in pain. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And for the record, Richie's not in pain, all right? Richie, are you sad? All right, guys, I'm 451. This is Richie. You almost choked on yourself. Richie comes out as 451,
Live at 11.
Richie's
451.
All of a sudden, I have 1 million subscribers. Hey, guys, it's Richie. Yeah. Yeah, Gio said, let the man rest in peace. Gio, why don't you shut up, Gio? Why don't you shut up, Gio? Why don't you shut up, Gio? I can't talk. I mean, the guy offed himself, so people can't talk about it. And see why it happened or something like that. I mean, if he just died of natural causes, they got rest in peace. But if somebody offs himself, it's good to analyze why it happened. So maybe someone else goes, hey, if you're going through that, there's other options. I mean, he didn't have to do that. I mean, he could have took a break for a couple of years, get some help, whatever it was, and get back on track. It's sad that he thought that was an option. I mean, everyone has some bad times, but pulling the plug for no reason. I mean, the only reason why I can see is if you're deathly ill and you're like, I'm going to go on my own way. Okay, but I don't know. You know,
Yeah, we see a lot of that, unfortunately.
you know. Well, that's happening in Canada. You had the whole assisted suicide. That's a
Yeah,
pretty much you can go to CBS. You're like, yeah, I think I'm done. And they're like, oh, okay, here you go.
yeah. It was around 2009, 2010. We were getting like one a month.
Wait,
Someone hanging themselves. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's
Joshua Joshua said, I would move to Thailand and have orgy. Joshua, that's the worst place to do that, Josh. Josh, you know how hot it is there, Josh? You're going to be sweating. You're going to be in your underwear. You're not going to be fresh. And half of those women are not women, okay? I just saw this video of a guy in Thailand, and it said, first time in Thailand, and he's outside like a public bathroom. It says men, and he looks in, and he sees a bunch of people in dresses, like standing in front of the urinal, and he goes back out. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he goes back and looks up, and it still says men. He's like, and then he's like, "Oh," he realized, like he didn't, and they were good looking. You wouldn't even know
right.
until you find out.
Yeah,
Because
right.
those are very petite, I guess, men. So it's easy. Like you're not
Right.
gonna be a lot harder to hide in Germany. Like guys built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, come with me if you want to be 451. You're like, what? I'm the dressinator. You're like, what? Yeah. Yes, I love you. It's like, but in Thailand, I told you that happened to me as an Uber driver. This young Asian guy was whatever 451, and he tried to make me come back home with him. I'm like, nah, I appreciate that, but that's not for me. And he's like, well, you're a big guy. He goes, can you fix pipes? Because I was like, yeah, I've done some construction. He's like, well, I have a leaky pipe in my bathroom, in my bedroom. He's like, do you think you could get underneath there and tighten it up? And I'm like, yeah, definitely can't do that for you. And he's like, all right, fine. He goes, but maybe you'll like my girlfriend. So he shows me a picture of his girlfriend. And like, she was on all fours in like an outfit. I mean, really nice outfit, right?
Right.
Like negligee and everything. And I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, not for nothing. I'm a single guy. That's a pretty girl. And he goes, that's me. He goes, I just give me a half hour. I'll get dressed up. And I'm like, oh no. He got because you're just looking at the picture, you wouldn't know. Like, because you know what I'm saying? Because he's like 90 pounds. This guy. You know what I'm saying? I guess the hair and makeup and the lingerie. I said, nah, bro. I said, no, I can't. No. I said, that's not for me. He's like, how do you know until you try? I'm like, I don't. I don't need to know. I don't need to know. I don't. Yeah. No. It's amazing how like things happen at nighttime with Uber driver and temptations come in that you don't even want. You're like, it's not like you was now. There was a temptation once where I met this guy. I'm not going to say his name, and it's not this kind of temptation. It's a money temptation. I'll explain. I pick up this guy and we're driving, and I can tell this guy is a connected guy, like a street guy, not like a mob guy, but he's the street guy connected to mob guys, like really hardcore, like prison tats, real rough around the edges. But he had like expensive jewelry, big watches. I mean, nice clothes, wads of cash, hundreds, just wads, and he's flailing around. And he's talking. I said, well, what do you do? He goes, well, I own nightclubs and restaurants. He's like, you ever hear the Bada Bing in Port Jeff? I'm like, yeah, that place that got shut down because the guy got decapitated by a cinder block in self-defense. He goes, oh, yeah, that was my nightclub. I lost my license because of that. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, what happened with that? He's like, well, this guy started a fight, and then the guy, he fought him back, so that was self-defense. But once he won, the guy was on the floor unconscious, and then he got a cinder block. They're outside smoking cigarettes, and then he dropped on his head and decapitated him. He's like, at that point, it became, I don't think it was murder, but I think he got manslaughter because the other guy started a fight with him. So, okay, you're allowed to knock him out. Then it's the end of that, right? But then after that, you're not supposed to drop cinder blocks. You know, that's sick. So, anyways, he lost his license there, and he's like, yeah, you see all this money? He's like, you ever hear the dark web?
Oh,
And I'm driving him to the casino in Jake's 58.
uh-huh.
I've heard of it. He's like, let me tell you something. He goes, money's supposed to get destroyed. After the banks collect money, and let's just say every year they say all the money after if it's older than 1980, they're gonna keep it, and then it gets shredded because for inflation. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna print out new ones, but they want to get the
Right.
old ones out for security reasons, right? So like they phase it out, right?
Mhm.
He's like, let me tell you something, kid. Do you think everyone just phases it out when they collect it? I was like, yeah, probably not. He goes, yeah, they don't put them all back. He goes, and that ends up on the dark web. He goes, but obviously you can't just put it back in the bank because if you have a bunch of $100 bills from like 1981, it'd be a little suspicious because I'm like, wait, we took these out of regulation, right? So he's like, this is what you do, kid. He goes, I buy him like 10 to 1. So I give him $100, I get 1,000. So for 10,000, I get 100,000. For 100,000, I get 1,000,000. You get what I'm saying, kid? I'm like, yeah, but you can't put in the bank. He goes, you don't have to put in the bank. Use one here, use one there. Nobody gives a shit. I'm like, yeah, but that would take a while though. He goes, but this is what you do. You go once a week to the casino. You put it in the machine. You go gamble a little bit, and then you cash out, and you get fresh money. No one's gonna know the fucking difference. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of tempting. He's like, I'll tell you what, here's my number. And he's like, he goes, I'll give you a good deal. He goes, I got people that come to me every week for $300. They get $900. I think I give them triple on their money, and they can go out and have a nice life. And I'm like, well, that's not a bad deal to have. So the next day, I'm having like breakfast with my girlfriend I was at the diner in Iceland, the
Mhm.
nice diner on Monte and we
Mhm.
and we eat breakfast. I was like, listen, I got an offer. I explained to her. I was like, if we just give him like 3 G's, we're gonna get like 10 grand, and like that's an. And I explained the whole thing. She's like, the feds are probably watching him. Ah, da, da, And I was just like, nah, you're probably right. So I didn't do it, but it was
Right.
tempting. It was tempting, man. It was because here's the thing: you wouldn't do that one time. You'd keep on doing it, and then you
You'd
tell,
be you'd
and
be
then
addicted.
yeah, and then before you know it, they get you for money laundering. Oh, I didn't know what would that be considered? Money laundering? What would that be?
I guess it would be money laundering. It's illegal money, and you're cleaning it.
Yeah, yeah. And then if you cross state lines, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, it is what it is. It's probably just better off that I didn't get involved with that guy. No, no, it was older money, bro. I mean, but the whole dark web thing is kind of scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still have his phone number, but I'm not going to call him. Yeah, yeah. I never met a guy you could buy money from. I got
if
him.
they if they didn't pick them up yet.
Well, he told me another story uh, before that part. He's like, yeah, let me tell you. He's like, yeah, I also, he goes, I mean, this guy just talked about all his felonious acts. He's like, I buy these marijuana pens, which are legal in California or Canada. I have them shipped to my house. He's like, I just tell them to write the wrong name. And so one time he's like, the mail came, and when the mail got dropped off, I went to get the mail, and the cops were there. They were pointing guns at him, and he's like, I don't know whose box this is. It's not my name. And I guess he got away with it because whatever. But he's buying those things because back then marijuana wasn't legal in New York. So let's say once again he's just hustling. He's just tripling his money, quadrupling his money. So this guy's not on the up and up. I mean,
No.
no, basically he was like Tony Soprano in the backseat.
You should meet a lot of characters doing Uber, huh?
All true stories. All true stories.
Wow.
I'm not making it that shit. That was for
No.
30 minutes. If the FBI or the police wanted to hire me, just give me an Uber car. People tell me everything because I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, oh really? I just do the Nero nod. Oh, oh, you know, and I'm doing the Nero nod, and as I'm doing the Nero nod, my ash came off because I'm doing the nod. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm talking too much of Italian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't. So once I go into Italian stories, my hands they come out. Let me tell you something. People tell you everything when you're Uber driver. Well, for me, if you just go, if you're just in the car, dry person, like you're like, okay, we'll be there in 12 minutes. You know, like people aren't gonna talk to you, bro. I've had people tell me everything. I had this woman come in my car, and she told me she was gonna kill her husband that night. It's the first thing she said. She gets in my car. I was in Patchogue, the edge of Medford on 112. And I was like, "How you doing? How was your night?" She's like, "Well, it was all right. I'm gonna kill my husband tonight." And I said,
Not
I said,
nonchalantly, nonchalantly, I'm going to kill my husband.
I said, well, how are you gonna do that? She said, "I'm gonna stab him." And I said, "Look, don't do that." I said, "Why don't you just get divorced like a normal woman, you know?" And she's like, "Nah." I said, "No, I can't take him anymore." And then the husband got in the car, like we were waiting for him. So the husband gets in the car, and I'm like, "Yeah, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, great, brother. What's up, man?" And then she's like, just sitting there, and I didn't say nothing. I'm like, "This guy has no idea, no idea." Like, what if I would have said something to him, then she played stupid, and he would have been mad at me, right? Don't talk about it that way.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but yeah, man. I mean, people. Did I ever tell you the guy at Port Jeff, the fat guy with a lot of money that owned the glass store? Did I ever tell you about that story?
No.
So we're at Port Side in Port Jeff, expensive steakhouse, really nice place in the village. So the guy gets in the car, really nice trophy wife, probably about 40 years old, really nice looking, nice dress. I mean, she was nice. The guy just big fat belly. You can tell he has money, nice clothes, but you can tell he's a heavy set businessman. Just you know, he gets in the car. He's like, "Oh man, that steak! I ate too much." And she's like, "Where are we gonna go now?" He's like, "We're going home." She's like, "No, I want to go out and party. Come on." And so she's rubbing on him. And I'm like, "All right, guys, where am I going? I'm driving you home. I have the address." He's like, "Yeah, just take us home. Take us home." And then I asked him, I said, "Oh, what do you do?" He goes, "Oh, I own a glass store in Center Ridge." I go, "Oh, I know the place." I said, "You got that Corvette in front? It's always parked there, nice Corvette." He goes, "Yeah, that's my Corvette." He's like, "I always show it off." He's a real show off kind of guy, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So at that point, the wife's like, "Oh, I'm so horny. Just take me now." And she tries to jump on him, like sitting on the right side, and she jumps and faces him. And she's like going up and down. She's like, "Just take me." Let's say his name is John. She's like, "Just
All
take
right.
me, John." He's like, "Oh, get off me." He just throws her off. She's like 90 pounds, 100 pounds. And she's like, "No, please." She's like, "After dinner and drinking, I just want to get it on." She's like, "What does a girl got to do just to get it on?" And she's trying to jumps back on him. And he's like, "No, come on. I had the surf and turf. The steak was so big. Get off." He's like, "I'm so full." He's like, "That steak was too big. Get off me." He's like, "I don't want to do this right now." And I'm just thinking, how big was this steak? You know what I'm saying? I'm just driving. And she's like, "What does the girl got to do to get laid around here?" And he's like, "I don't give a shit." He goes, "Fuck the Uber driver." And like, she reaches over. She's like, "What do you think, big guy?" He's like, "Am I good enough for you?" And I'm just sitting there like, "Well, you're a very pretty woman, but you should probably do that with your husband." You know what I'm saying? Though? He's like, "No, I don't give a shit." He's like, "Please, please, have a good time." And I'm like, like that's a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Though, but he offered me his wife. I was just like, yeah.
Uh,
What do you do? You just pull over by hand the Carvel or something like that? You're like,
right.
no. So, anyways, I ended up taking them. They went home, whatever. But that's the crazy shit that happens. I mean, that's so many stories like that. Just of rich people when they're drunk doing terrible things.
There's some crazy people out there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Said, said I had the
Well,
surf and turf. Get off me. See? That you can tell that guy. You know, he's already done with life. Like he's like, "All right, I'm good." Like, he's
yeah.
probably bored. He's like, "Yeah, the steak was enough." It is. But I have had the steak at Portside. It is really good. It is really good. I don't know if I would turn down that though after the steak. I might be.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's what's what?
So Portside, if you went to Danforth, it's too far.
Right.
Portside back by the parking lot by Ruvo. So if you by the tennis courts, it's on the back side.
Okay, okay. I know you're talking about.
Okay, Portside is the old. No, I'm sorry, not Portside. Oldfields. It's Oldfields is the name. Portside is the bar in town, which is another great bar, but it's a real dive bar. Oldfields is yeah, Oldfields is different. Yeah, Portside, my God. Even my party days, I'd hang out there, but like I can tell you stories about that place. I was like, it was like park benches, like big, like picnic benches. And we're all hanging out, drinking. You meet strangers, and everyone's like, "Hey, let's all do Molly," and I'm like, "No, no, it's not for me." So somebody left, and they came back, and they all did their stuff, whatever, and everyone was just like, "Ah." And I'm just like, "No, I'm just drinking." I left the table. I'm like, "Guys, this is not for me. I only drink alcohol and smoke cigars." But you get people like that. One night on Halloween, this nurse, she was a nurse in real life, but she was dressed up as a zombie, and I was hanging out with her and her friends and her brother. We're all just palling around drinking. Well, some guy came in and he bumped into her or something, and the guy got mad, and so he broke a beer bottle over the nurse's head. She was a little nurse, and so I remember I was outside. This happened in the bar, but when he did it, there was so many people there. It was Halloween. The guy took off in the crowd, and long story short, the girl came out. She's holding her head, but she was already dressed up as a zombie that was bleeding. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm bleeding." We're like, "Yeah, your costume." She's like, "No, I'm bleeding." Like, because she already, it was a confusing thing. And then it's like, "Oh, who did it?" She's like, "Oh, somebody dressed up in a Knicks jersey, like a New York Knicks jersey." So we all took off to the town, and with her brother and everyone, like a posse, and everyone we're going through. We went to each bar, and we, anyone here with a Knicks jersey? We just took over the place. We were looking for this guy, and then the cops that was going. We had a posse, I don't know, like 20 people, and I told them what happened, and then the cops joined the posse. Like we were just going from place to place, like looking, and then we found the guy in a Knicks jersey, and it was like, "Well, that's not the guy though," because we had a description, and also. But I was like, "Bro, take off that fucking jersey tonight." And he's like that, dude. No joke. That was a legal posse. The cops like, if you find that guy, stomp him out. Like he was like a local Port Jeff policeman.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. You break a bottle. You said the girl she had stitches. She got
yeah.
fucked for what? For what? What? Who hits a woman in the head with a bottle for any reason? I mean, come on. I mean,
A coward.
yeah. I mean, yes. Yeah, yeah. Or maybe he had the stake in Port. The stake was big.
Uh,
What do you grab another stick?
nah, that's my second one tonight.
Oh, so you already done? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. I mean, I could write a book of this, the crazy things that happen at nighttime. None of it's good. Like, not it's. That's why I don't go out no more.
nah, it's not worth it.
No, because even just being around it, like it's like I don't miss it. I mean, it seems exciting and funny now, but like the most violent places though, in Long Island at night, I've seen is Patchogue, Port Jeff, and Huntington, the party zones. And after 2 o'clock, when people start eating pizza, because now they get carbohydrates and they're already drunk, they
Right.
get energy. That's when the fights really start. Like, I mean, just yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a guy.
Patrick's crazy these days.
Was that?
Patrick's crazy these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this guy in Huntington in front of pizzeria there. He almost took this guy's eye out. Like, because the guy was outside the pizzeria and he gave everyone the finger. So the guy came
Mhm.
out. He's like, "Don't give me and my girlfriend the finger." And I was like waiting for a ride to come out. He's like, "Yeah, well, I did." And so this guy was like a professional boxer. He was just like, Mike, he was like, "Foo, foo, foo, foo." And the guy was on the floor. And then like he picked up his head. And he said, "Foo, foo," and he just kept on going. And I got up. I'm like, "Dude, he's gonna die." Like, I pushed the guy, but dude. And they're both maybe 150, 160-pound guy. I pushed him. Like, "Dude, he's gonna fucking die." I said, "Do you want to catch a body over this? Do you want to go 30 years?" He's like, "You gave me the finger." I said, "You want to get 30 years with the finger?" I said, "Get the fuck out of here." So the guy left. When the cops came, the cops were like, "Well, who did this?" And I gave him the description. I was like, "Yeah, it's a guy, like, let's say 5'8", maybe 100, whatever, some pound, a white guy, whatever." And the cop literally said, "Oh, he was white?" And the cop literally was like, "Okay." They didn't look for him. It was like the most racist thing in the world.
Mhm.
I was like, literally, cops said that. I'm like, "Oh, it's like that. All right." Like,
Yeah.
it was just like he literally was like, "All right, it's a crazy thing." say, like, I don't know. It's not safe. Not safe to get pizza at 2 in the morning. The little Vincent's over there. You never went to Huntington? Or you go? Or is you go to Huntington?
Nah, that's pretty far from here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
you could probably go to Patchogue, maybe, right?
Patchogue, yeah. We go
You,
to Patchogue, we go to Port Jeff.
Fort Jeff's a hike though. That long ride up 83. It's a nice ride, but that's from your house. It's what, about an hour?
Nah, maybe 35 minutes.
Or
Not too far.
are you coming up the other way? Which way are you going?
So if I went, I would go from my house, I go up Floyd and turn by the 7-Eleven by the expressway.
Yeah,
Make go those windy roads through Yaphank
yeah,
and go take that all the way, make another left, another right, and you're right down in Port Jeff. It's not too far. It's just back roads.
yeah. It's better taking the back way than
Yeah,
you almost cut it across an angle. That's the
yeah,
better.
exactly.
Because yeah, if you took Sunrise to 83, you hit so many lights.
Yeah. We
80,
don't when we go out to dinner. We do Patchogue or we do even Sam Richards.
yeah, you have painters to
Mm-hmm.
visit.
Yep, that's over in Bellport.
Yeah, and Bellport's one of those towns. Like South Bellport is like old money, but like North Bellport and South Yaphank is no joke.
Yeah, no.
That's You'll find trouble there any time of the day. Uh,
Trouble finds you there any
yeah,
time of day.
yeah. Bellport, North Bellport has shootings broad daylight,
Yes.
broad daylight, and it's like one of those best kept secrets of Long Island that no one talks about. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a small grid in a sense, but that area of North Bellport, no one talks about it. But just look up Bellport shootings, you'll find a lot, and it's like
Yeah.
it just gets squashed. It's just like, man.
And then you cross the railroad tracks on the south side, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's the way Long Island's set up like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I still think though, pound for pound, the most dangerous area in the one small spot is Gordon Heights.
Oh
Gordon
yeah.
not fucking playing around. I did 2 rides there as an Uber driver, and both times someone got shot. Not by me. I mean, like you know, like so I was at a big block party and texting the girl, "Hey, I'm here," and while I'm waiting for her to come, there's like 100 people outside, and all of a sudden I hear, "Fuck you, motherfucker," and then just hear pop, 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 pop. And I went in reverse, back, backwards, and but there was so many people running behind me because it was a dead end. I was facing a dead end. And I couldn't turn around because there was cars parked illegally on both sides, so I had to drive in reverse. So I was to head down, and there was so many girls I could see behind me running, but I slammed on the brakes because I didn't want to run them over. I just saw like the back of their legs running,
Right,
away.
right.
So I slammed on the brakes, and then as soon as I slammed on the brakes, 5 girls jumped in my car. I had
Oh,
1 front and 4 in the back. They just dove in, and I was
right.
like, "Hey," and I didn't even know who they were. We just took off. We got out of there, and it turned out a few of the girls, 3 out of the 5, were the girls I was picking up, ironically, and the other 2 wasn't. And I was like, "All right, ladies, all right, now that we're out of trouble, I made it out of the neighborhood." I was like, "You got to get out of my car. You're not." They're like, "Well, where are we supposed to go?" I'm like, "This is not my problem." I was like, "You trespassed in my vehicle. I know a shooting just happened, but I don't have to get." She's like, "Well, I need a ride home." I'm like, "I'm not giving you a free ride home." I was like, "Listen, I'm not a volunteer." And I was like, "Where are we gonna go?" I'm like, "Well, there's a gas station over there. I'll drop you off and you can order a ride." And she got all mad. Like, you jumped in my car and now you think I'm going to give you a free ride? What was Richie, a punk? Yeah.
It's a bad area for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And the next time I went over there, it was during the day. So after that happened, I said, I'll never go that area at nighttime. All right. Well, if some time goes by and I get a ride there during the day. And I'm like, all right, how bad can it be, right? I go during the day, maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And as I'm pulling up to the house, I thought it was the house. There was a girl there on the corner, but then I realized she's dressed like a hooker. And I was like, let's say I had the name. I'm like, Jenny, is this for ride for Jenny? She's like, no, but I'll give you a ride, honey. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm good. And then I pull up. It was the next house, and the girl gets out, and she gets in. I start the ride, and she's literally going like a block or 2 around. I'm like, you taking a ride for like 2 blocks? She's like, "Don't you know this neighborhood? You can't walk around here." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then all the cops are up the street, like a lot of them. Like they had the road blocked off. I'm like, "What happened?" She's like, "Oh, some guy just got home from prison today, and he shot his brother in the face in front of the cops." And I'm like,
Right.
"Oh." I said, "That was the last time. That was the last time I went to Gordon Heights because like 2 for 2, 2 for 2. Like I mean, that's a bad. The the cops called me back for the first one. I saved the message. The
Right.
detective about the shooting, and I talked to him on the phone. I gave him the best description of what I saw, and they never called me back. I don't think it ever went to trial. They never caught the guy. Nobody
Right.
cares because who's going to testify? You know, and I
Right.
actually in that same block, same street. I think 2 months ago, a Suffolk cop got shot in the leg, and he survived though.
Right.
Did you hear about that?
I did hear about that. Yeah. I used to work over there, like right across from what was it? The fifth precinct was over there.
Yes,
Six, six, six.
was down there, but they moved. It was so
Yeah.
dangerous. The police station moved.
Uh-huh. There was a shop. Yeah, really. Right. There was a shopping center right across the street. I used to work there.
Yeah, and
And
then there's Benson's gun store. Nobody
right on the other side.
know why? Because it's a gun store. The
Right.
only safe place over there is Benson's gun store. And Noah was right next door to Benson's gun store. I used to go there as a kid. It was a Christian bookstore. That was the safest Christian bookstore. My mother used to go there to buy Bibles or like
Right.
CDs, Christian music. It was right next to Benson's gun store. Nobody was robbing that area. So that's the one safe spot, you know. So it's an interesting little area, But yeah, I mean, statistically, it's bad. It's
It is.
it's sad how bad it is over there.
Yeah, I heard there's a lot of construction over there now. New construction going on.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a few months. In what
I've
way
been
though?
there a long
Building
time.
or
Mhm.
like they're building apartments or
Yeah, I heard there's all new apartment buildings going up.
interesting.
I haven't been over there.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look.
I've
Uh,
been there in years, actually.
but it's funny if you go to North Quorum on the southern part of like Middle Island or like just south of I guess that'd be Miller Place. There's like horse ranch. It's really nice.
Yep.
You have to go about a half mile north of Middle Country Road. But if you're south of Middle Country Road in Quorum, it is. I mean, it's that is a bus stop right on 112. There was a liquor store right next to it, and the liquor store had to move. And I
Mhm.
told the liquor store, I'm like, why'd you move? And he's like, well, they kept on arresting prostitutes and pimps in my parking lot, and they tried to take out part of it. He goes, I would constantly call the police, and the police would do nothing. But some new
Mhm.
politician came in. He's like, we got to clean up this area. We got prostitutes hanging out in the parking lot, like right next to this church. And like they made a move. But he's like, I'm not a pimp. He's like, I'm just selling beer. He's like, I can't tell the. But literally, it was just like pimps and prostitutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's last time I was over there, right at the red light, you got the bus stop right at 112 outside of Home Depot there in Quorum.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know it's going.
Oh, bro, broad
Mm-hmm.
daylight. The people were selling what they stole in the shopping stop. The guy had deli meat, sausages, steaks. He's like, whatever you want, I got it. Steak, I got. That's it. That's been the hot sun. You don't want to buy stolen sausage.
Right.
That's,
Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah, that's pretty common. I haven't seen it in a while, but there used to be a lot of people that would go to Costco and do the same thing.
it's such a bad area. They started putting candy machines with crack pipes. And I mean, it wasn't by the state. I mean, somebody who's an entrepreneur started selling
Right.
crack pipes out of candy machines. You put the 50 cents in.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Oh, and they were doing good business. And yeah, is that hysterical? I mean,
It's amazing. Now they just go to the Indian smoke shops.
yeah, bro. I mean, I'm not making any of this shit up. That's not a place to.
No.
Long Island is a great place, but I think. Did you see what happened in the city yesterday?
No.
Riots. Holy shit! Look up. Let's look up yesterday. Just type in New York City riots. Look up what happened yesterday. The whole area got destroyed because there was like a YouTuber who said he was going to give out free PS5s, and it,
Right.
riot. You know what I'm saying though? And like all these young kids like destroyed a whole. I mean, and they actually had drones there. They had disperse now, or you'll be arrested. Disperse. I mean, like
Wow.
look like a scene of like of the future. You know, I mean, like look up the story, man. It's interesting.
Very well.
Yeah, they were using a. The NYPD has a lot of drones. You know, people don't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Does your fire department have drones?
No, not yet.
You're
We've
gonna.
talked about it. To use for size up. We get a working fire, we put the drone up above it, or if you get an overturned vehicle, let's say a tanker, and you
Sure.
want to do size up from a distance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense because you might be putting a fire here, but something's spreading over there.
Right.
What about? Were you around for that fire in the Pine Barrens in the '90s?
Yep,
What?
that was my first year in the fire department.
So what happened with that?
Supposedly, it was a cigarette. I don't know. I think they were doing controlled burns, and they got out of control. Yeah, they do the controlled burns and killed. They destroyed some of the brush and all that. I think it just got out of control.
How bad
Which
was it?
it was pretty bad. It actually jumped Sunrise Highway, and Sunrise Highway. I mean, you're talking 4 lanes with a median. It jumped across.
Yeah, from the grass on one side to the other side. You're talking about over 500 feet.
Yeah, it's far. It's far. Yeah, we got a tanker. Well, we still have it, but it's a 3,000-gallon tanker. It's one of the only departments on Long Island that has it. So whenever there's something big, they call for our tanker.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyone died during that fire or no?
Not that I recall, no. Not that I recall.
Did that area recover yet, or is it still?
It's mostly grown back. You could still tell that there was a fire there because the grounds are, cleared out still. But you have pine trees that came back up and growing. It's getting there.
What area would you say in Long Island would be most prone to a fire? Not to prone to a fire like that where is it just wooded area or is there other areas that are more dry? I mean, it's so humid, so it's not like Long Island's pretty moist, which helps, you know. But I mean, what obviously you're worried about power plants and who's in charge of. They have to have their own fire departments, right? Like
They have
power.
to have their own, yeah. They have their own. But then they have a whole mutual plan. So if something goes wrong, 4 or 5 departments will be activated simultaneously, which is what we do now. Right now, if we get a working fire during the day and it comes in, and the operator can tell, hey, there's visible flames. It sounds like something real. They activate Brookhaven and Mastic to our fire at the same time.
Interesting.
Because it's really hard to man trucks on Long Island these days. There's no volunteers.
So places like the Shoreham plant or like the Brookhaven lab, they have their own fire department.
They have their own. Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
It's such a big area.
Yeah,
People,
but we've
how many?
gotten it's called 24. We've gotten mutual aided to Brookhaven Land for brush fires. They have a big piece of land over there.
Interesting. Stupid question, but have you ever had a fire at a cemetery?
We don't have any cemeteries in our. Yeah, we do have a cemetery in our district. No, I don't remember. No,
Isn't that
no.
fun?
But I'm
The one place like you don't have to worry about fire is a cemetery. I mean, it could happen, but it's not really to burn.
right. Yeah, we've been busy actually. We had a working fire last night.
Well, I'll tell you what. Long Island, I've seen the change. Most houses were independent; they had oil. People
But
was gas, and a lot of the neighborhoods have gas primaries, and service lines. Even if a house is oil, lots of times there's a service line right outside the house. They just didn't pay for the connection yet, because it costs money. I think like 5 or 10 G's to convert. But how worried are you about when there's a fire as far as the gas service line? Because most of the gas service lines are only 18 inches under the ground, and it's just a plastic pipe, PVC pipes.
the only gas
What happened there? I got to make that.
There we go. Yeah, my headphones reconnected for a second. That's a good one. We don't have any natural gas in our district. It's working its way down now. It's come down William Floyd. Propane we do, and I've seen. Well, first thing we do is you shut the propane tanks down because they're external against the building. But I've seen fires where they had a barbecue on the deck, and the propane tank let go. Actually, I was in a fire once. It was on the second floor, and so we were advancing up the stairs. I was a captain at the time. I was in a living room, and the line was going up the stairs to the second floor where the fire was. So you had to go up the stairs, make a right. Seemed like textbook fire. All of a sudden, the house blew up while we were inside of it. Blew the front door right off. All the kitchen cabinets came right off the walls. All the tile floors it shattered. What happened was it was in the winter, so they had a propane tank underneath the house, sideways, and it went out. But it lit a fire before it went out, and the fire traveled up the wall onto the second floor. But the entire bottom of the house was filled with propane, and it exploded. It ignited.
Yeah, propane is
Yeah.
a time bomb. That's no joke.
My helmet went into the ceiling in the living room. It was pretty crazy.
So what happens in that case as a volunteer fireman if you get hurt or either maimed or you can't go back to work for a while or permanently because it's volunteer though? But then how do they compensate you then? How are you supposed to live?
Well, we actually have an insurance policy, like kind of like workman's comp, on all the firemen, but it's a set amount you get. It's not like when you get unemployment where you get like what in New York it's like $345 or something. They get 1,500 automatic while they're out per week.
But then if some guy really got hurt or God forbid killed, they probably have a lot of fundraisers and take care of each other, right?
Absolutely, 100%, 100%, and we have a death policy, obviously. So line of duty's like 200,000.
Yeah, but the guys, I'm sure, you know, because in the city they probably get more than that, right? I mean, so that's.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that it'd be better off to have a smaller but a permanent paid position, or is it better to have a whole bunch of guys volunteering? And
Well,
what's the pros and cons of both?
well, the con to it is it's more on the taxpayers. For it to work, you'd have to consolidate fire departments and
The Long
have like all
Island,
substations
the
if
Long
you
Island,
went paid.
you know, it would take. It's not like the city where it's a small area, but a lot of people and everything's in a few blocks. If you got to go from even Coram to like Miller Place, it could take you 25 minutes to get there.
Absolutely. So these days, when I first joined, you would man 5 trucks, with a crew of 4 in the back, chauffeur, and an officer. No problem. Today, you're lucky to get one truck out, especially during the day. Usually, you have to reactivate the call once or twice before you even get a crew, and that's across Long Island. That's not
But
just
first of all, you have less guys, and also people are generally working 2 jobs now. So
that's right.
they don't have the money. So eventually, if it becomes too dangerous, they're going to have paid.
It's going to happen. I think it was Medford might. I think they're the ones that started it. They created a position through CSEA um, for a paid guys. So now they have one full crew during the day paid. Um, just a man a truck. It's happening all over. It started with the ambulance companies.
Yeah.
Most ambulance companies now on Long Island, and on any shift, there's like 3 or 4 paid people.
So you can have a combination, which makes sense. So that way you still have volunteers. Because listen, there's pros to volunteers. Because some guys say, "Hey, I already have this job, but I'd like to get some action." They like the community. They hang out with the brothers. They like the club because it is also a club. I mean,
Yeah.
you have what kind of amenities does your firehouse have for the guys when on downtime?
We're a dry firehouse, so there's not like open liquor or anything like that. Like a lot of people believe there is. There's not. But we have barbecues for them. We'll have parties for them. Just to keep like the family involved and stuff like that.
And while they're waiting, most places have a clubhouse. They can watch the game or something.
Yeah, we have all that. Sure.
Yeah. So and they have a gym, shower, whatever. You hang out. So it is, it's part of the community. Do you have to live in the community to work there?
You have to. Well, the state law is you have to be in the fire district for 40 hours per week to be a volunteer there. So
Okay.
technically, if your job would let you go, you could join a fire department where your job is. But
Okay.
predominantly, the way it works is you have to live in the district. So that's how our fire district was. When I was chief, I extended our fire boundaries about a quarter mile in every direction. That we can take members quarter mile out of district as long as they get permission from that fire district,
Right.
which they never say no.
And as guys get older, can they get like a different position where if they
Yeah,
can't front line, but they can still be on the scene, which is important too. They can do other things. I've seen like some older guys, like they're 60s or 70s, but they're still like they would show up in a car, but to be there, just even just controlling traffic. Because on Long Island, if you have a bad accident,
yep,
you have more accidents, right? So that's the secondary, and you got to worry about firemen getting hit. And now you have to worry about which is happening. You see where people will call 911 and they just shoot a fireman. So I see in Long Island where EMS workers were wearing bulletproof vests. That's the thing now, right?
yes, yeah. My daughter, she's in Florida now, but she was volunteering here. She was volunteering at our local ambulance company, but over in Mastic, she was paid EMT. In both places, she wore a bulletproof vest.
And they provide that for them.
They're the provider, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense because also you don't know what you get involved in, man.
That's right.
Crazy. You show up, and if there's only one cop on the scene, he can't protect everyone, and you don't know what the hell's going to happen. I mean,
Yeah, and a lot of times, fire and EMS will get there before the police. So if you're going to a domestic violence call and you're EMS, you don't know what you're walking into.
yeah,
So.
that's just crazy because at that point they should let him be armed too. But that's a whole nother liability, I guess. They don't want to do, I guess. But
My
yeah,
daughter had someone pull a knife out.
yeah,
But she's like, whatever. Well, I'm walking away.
yeah,
She's not going to put herself in jeopardy.
yeah. I'm not here to arrest you.
Plus, my daughter's only like 100.
No. And a knife, honestly, a knife in some ways is more dangerous than a gun because they're not with a vest. I mean, hey, whatever. So
Yeah. So when she was riding, she had a bulletproof vest, and then she carried a knife.
yeah, that's something. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe at least
They actually, at one point, so the older guys become fire police usually, and for a short period of time before the state revoked it, they were allowed to carry firearms,
interesting.
but the state revoked it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you guys have your own? Who are the guys? The arson investigators, or no? That's only state or county.
Austin for us comes from Suffolk County.
So those guys are armed. Those guys are police. Yeah.
Those are guys armed, yeah.
There was an interesting story in Patchogue. I'm sure you heard about in the '90s. They still
Mhm.
never caught that guy who blew up the cop's car. Remember that story? In the '90s,
No.
Patchogue. Check that out. Look up the story. I'll send it in the private chat. In the '90s, there was a policeman that
Hmm.
turns out, I think he was banging the neighbor's wife, and they were both. Everyone was cops. And
Right.
the neighbor's husband was in the he was on the bomb squad.
Hmm.
So of course he has those things at home, right, or whatever in his vehicle. The cop that was banging his wife one day goes in his car, goes off, and they know it was that guy, and they never they couldn't prove it.
Couldn't prove
It's still a popular story 20 years later,
it. Hmm.
and it was just on the news recently, and it was such a hot topic. I think it's embarrassing for the department. They don't want to, it's like, well, we don't have the evidence, but I guess that'd be bad for them to. That's a
A,
crazy.
a good percentage, well, not lately, but back in from 2002, 2001 to about 2011, most of our fires were arson.
Awesome.
And arson would come, they would say it was arson, but they never catch anybody. It's almost an impossible crime to catch somebody.
It's not like you're in the city with so many witnesses,
Hmm.
so many people outside. There was a story, I think 2 years ago. There was a Suffolk County police officer who was a volunteer fireman. I forget which precinct, maybe Brentwood.
Hmm.
And multiple times, not as a policeman, as a volunteer fireman, he was first one on the scene. He was Superman, right?
Yeah.
But it turns out he was starting the fires,
Yes.
and he went to prison for that. How
We
much?
ha-
That's a serious charge, arson, right? So
it is. It's actually a felony. We've had, not us, but on Long Island, there's been departments where they take in probationary firemen, and then all of a sudden they can start getting fire after fire after fire. And they actually did catch a kid lighting the fires because he wanted to be the first one there on the first do
yeah, he
rig.
wanted days of glory. He wanted to get promoted.
Hmm. That's right. And they caught him. That's the first thing that they look into it. If you have new firemen and there's a lot of arson, they look into them.
They start watching him, right?
Hmm.
Right. That's interesting. I mean, obviously it's a small percentage, but there was a story in California where there was a policeman, an arson guy, and supposedly he did thousands. And once he finally got caught, all those wildfires that were happening in California, it went from like thousands a year to like nothing.
Right.
Like this guy for like 20 years pretty much lit the whole state because it's such a big state. He was starting all these brush fires. And I guess he created a lot of overtime.
Right.
But so who knows, if that's more than just him, like kind of like,
You
because
know, if an arsonist starts a fire and God forbid a fireman gets killed, it's manslaughter
yeah,
on him.
yeah, yeah, no, I still think fire is one of our biggest threats. And I mean, God bless the firemen for being out there because people don't realize our history. If you went back even 100 years ago, cities like Chicago burned down, like,
That's right.
because most of the buildings are made of wood and brick.
Hmm.
But, it's, and I think when 100 years ago, when electric started to become popular, the way they used to run electric lines, there was no insulation. They had bare copper lines, like so. Anyways, fire is a serious
Yeah.
trouble. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, Joshua, Backdraft was a cool movie, but that's nothing how it really is. You really can't see when you're in a fire, just so you know.
yeah,
You have no visibility. There's zero.
yeah. The only thing I can say about that movie would be realistic is that one of the guys was setting the fires. I guess
Hmm.
and
Yes.
that movie obviously was over the top. It was a movie,
Yep. Yeah,
but
it's a movie.
I mean, especially those guys were surviving crazy fire. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it,
When, it's funny when we get new recruits in. The first thing they do is they get flashlights and they fill their pockets. It's almost like a toolbox in their pocket. I mean, it's great to have a couple tools. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm like, do you really think you're going to use that flashlight? You're going to use that flashlight when you're on the side of the road directing traffic and you want to like wave something.
yeah,
You're not going to use that in a fire. They
nah,
put them in their helmets and maybe overhaul, which is at the end of the fire when you're just trying to mop up.
yeah.
All the smoke is gone. Yeah, you're using that. But
Do you think they'll ever make the guys wear like the GoPro cameras, like the police having cameras, a fireman ever gonna have cameras?
um, I can't see it happening, but nothing would surprise me. I mean, because the fire department's not controversial, in the eyes of the public, like police are.
Yeah, there's not like well, I would say the city was more because there was the whole old wives' tale of, and there was a percentage of firemen when they come and they would take jewelry or this, and those
Yes,
they got caught. I mean, maybe not back in the day, but if you show up to a fire and you evacuate the building, and then all of a sudden people's jewelry and money goes disappearing, it
right.
can't. Well, that's now I can't see with all the cameras. You're gonna get caught.
Yeah. I told you about the story. I went to a fire, and I was a chief at the time, and it was a grow house.
Yeah, yeah. You talk about that.
The
And so what? The police came.
police came. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what we had to do is when the law is states in New York and Brookhaven town, when there's a fire, the fire department takes possession of the house.
Right.
Police can't do that. They need a search warrant to do that. But while we're there, they're allowed to come in, invited by us.
Because it's almost like
So
yeah.
yeah, so while our lines are out, they had detectives come and the whole nine. So
Yeah, that's now. What about on Indian reservations out there at Puspatuck? Can you guys go
mhm.
in there or no?
We do, and there's been a lot of fires in the past 12 months in there. Fire department's always been allowed.
A lot of shooting.
There's a lot of shootings in there. Police for a while were not allowed, but the new chief or whatever, probably about 10 years ago, made an agreement with Suffolk County that they're allowed in there anytime, whenever they want.
It's probably because of the crime. The crime is astronomical.
It is. It's through the roof. You got to see the way they build in there. No, there's no rules. No rules. They don't have to follow building codes. So, town of Brookhaven doesn't go in there and do inspections and all that. There's houses on top of houses, or smoke shops on top of smoke shops on top of smoke shops. So
Yeah,
it's very populated.
a Suffolk cop told me about. They sometimes they have people with some kind of sensor, like a radar sensor. They can tell because people might be going there to buy 1,000 cartons of cigarettes to flip.
Yes.
So if you're carrying large amounts of cash, all that magnetic frequency, all that money, they can
Hmm.
tell, and they'll
Right.
pull you. And if you don't got a receipt with that money now belongs to the county because you're like, why do you
Hmm.
have 50 grand on you? You know what I'm saying? No?
Yep.
If you can't prove you took it from a bank,
Yeah. They've ran out of the police truck over there. They've ran. There's two entrances, so two exits. They set up so you go in. And on the way out, they'd search you. And what people were doing is they were following people for a long time, but they would go in there with box trucks and leave with cigarettes. Now, there's no tax stamps on them. You're not
yeah,
paying tax.
right. So and that's fine if it's for personal use, but
Yes.
I know back in the day, in like in
Hmm.
Port Jeff and Patchogue, the bars would flip the cigarettes,
Yep.
10 pack, $8 a pack, or sell loosies, which I guess people turn a blind eye, but they don't do it no more.
No, no.
That's just
They A lot of people got caught in the reservation doing that. I don't think it happens much anymore. Not like it used to.
yeah. But know what's so funny about our society, and I get that, but yet when it comes to fentanyl, it's like the cops carry Narcan to save people from fentanyl. Are cops like, what do they do for people smoking cigarettes? Are they helping you out? You know,
Yeah, yeah. I
are they,
tell you, every smoke shop, which it's just one block. I'm sure you've been in there, right? It's like one block, maybe 2 blocks. It would equate to. Every single smoke shop says it has fine cigars. I haven't gone in one yet to find out.
I've seen those. I've never seen fine cigars in there. It would be nice to
Mm.
see the prices, but
Yeah,
it's probably all Rocky Patel.
yeah, it's probably all wrappers. A lot of these places they sell cigars, but you go in and they sell the wrapper, so that you know they roll
Well,
their own.
well, I'm sure. Well, have you seen Long Island change now with the pot stores? Where are the pot stores now? They're selling pot legally.
I only know of one. It's You remember where Ladigan's used to be, right by where Ford River Nursery is when you're heading towards Cinnamirches on Montauk Highway. So right when you get into Cinnamirches, you have to go through Mastic. There's one right over there. That's
Oh,
the only one I know of.
I know in Port Jeff they opened up something right on Main Street, right next to the barber shop. But did you know in New York State, when it comes to selling marijuana legally with a license, did you know that all the licenses first, you know who they're going to? You have to be a felon. If you're a felon and you were arrested and imprisoned for
Yes,
marijuana crimes, you get a license first to sell. Isn't that crazy?
yes, yes. That's true. 100% true.
Richie doesn't make shit up.
No,
And
that's 100% true. I
told
know
me,
a lot of people will not believe that, but that's true. You can actually find it on New York State's website.
yeah, um, a cigar shop told me about that. And
Hmm.
it's Indian cigar shop on Montauk Highway in
Hmm.
Naval. Jim Smoke Shop, but now they changed the name. And he's like, yeah, me and my brothers, we want to open to go expand the business to marijuana, have a separate store because we can't get the license because basically you have to go to prison to get the license.
Right. This one place I know. I think it's called CBD God or something. They
Yeah.
started off selling like old CBD stuff, and then they finally got the permit.
But now you have both. You can trust me. When I was at a cigar shop in Oakdale, I was like, wait, because I asked the guy, I was there last time, like 4 months ago. I was like, so you sell cigars, but I said, now marijuana's legal, so and I don't smoke it. But I said, but how's that work? He goes, well, no, we have CBD, but he goes, we're trying to get the license. But he goes, but if you need it, I'll have a guy here in 10 minutes. How much you want?
Yeah,
Like, you want one
yeah,
pound? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I just want Monte Cristo. And he's like,
yeah.
oh, got those over there. Buy one, get one free. And I'm like, okay. But literally, right out in the open. So I think a lot of places, because it's legal now, people are
Right.
selling legally because they don't care anymore. You know.
Yeah. What cigar shop was it?
Oh, Oakdale, right next to Fortune Cookie Chinese restaurant.
It's not in the big shopping center, is it?
It is.
It's there's a steakhouse in there. Was it
No,
Texas Roadhouse?
no, that's on Summers Highway. This is on Montauk Highway, and it's right next to Mama's Pizzeria.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's okay. I was just over there tonight.
It's a quarter mile from the firehouse.
Yeah, yeah. There's this one place. Actually, I think it's Sayville. There's a big shopping center where Texas Roadhouse is. So I went in there just to see what cigars he had, and he's like, "Hey, come here. We got Cubans." I'm like, "Oh, what do you got?" The hockey 54s and a cardboard box. He pulls them out from underneath the counter. I go, "How much?" $45. $45.
The
I
guy
had I bought one.
was
I
it good?
did. No, it was disgusting.
Uh, it was a fake. The
It
guy,
was fake.
the guy in Selden in um, the Wendy's parking lot in Selden by the big shopping right across the street from the Sixth Precinct. Uh,
Hmm.
he sells fake Cubans now in the back,
Right.
and ask for them, and they're $35 a piece, and obviously they're
Yeah. Yeah, they're fake.
because everything was either Behike or like Cohiba Grand Reserve, and you're like,
Yeah.
I didn't buy them, but like, I wonder where they're getting those from.
Yeah. I bought it because I said I want to try it. So I went with the whole. This is before they were doing the black light thing and all that in the private shop. This was a few weeks before that, and I went to work, and I got my black light out, and I'm like, I don't even see the dots on the label you're supposed to see on the band and the
That's
serial number. I didn't see any of that shit.
no.
So it was fake. It was totally fake.
Well, there's different levels of fake. I mean, there's totally fake and ones that might look at a real. Listen, you're not getting any real ones from a Long Island shop,
No,
not for $35. And we're not talking about a cheaper one. You're talking about there's someone cute Cohibas. They're not $30.
no, not at all.
And but it's funny they're risking their license to do that.
Hmm.
I mean, technically you could report them and like I don't know if they would care. But they could lose their license, right?
Right? Yeah, I think so.
Because, well,
But
they're
but
not
if they're not really Cuban in the end,
no, but they're not paying tax on them.
that's true too. Yeah.
But no, it's crazy. They'll collect tax for you on the sales tax, and that means they can keep that.
Yep.
So it's. I always wonder about those places where they give you like buy four get one free.
Yep.
I wonder if they're refilling their boxes with stuff they buy in Pennsylvania, no tax.
Hmm.
And some
I
places have gotten caught for that, like to kind of cook the books.
hmm I could see that.
For example,
Just hold off cigar page.
yeah, yeah.
You
So let's just say you have the box. Let's, for example, you have 1,000 boxes of cigars.
know?
But let's say in a store, technically you have 1,200 boxes as far as how many cigars are in there. You're like, well, that means you didn't buy them.
Right.
I think they're very controlled in New York. I think they have to buy it from a New York middleman, right? I'm pretty
I
sure.
believe so. Yeah.
So there's only like two spots. One's in Hopog, and so basically what happens is the store has to pay the tax up front, and then
Yeah.
they pay the tax in the box. So a $10, let's say 20 cigars, $10, that's
Hmm.
$200, and at 75%, he's paying $375 for that,
Yeah.
and then he's got to make profit on top of that, and then you get charged sales tax for 8.75. So at $10 cigar, you're paying $17, $18, and then you get taxed.
Right.
And he made $2. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And it's not like cigarettes, where there's a tax stamp, so it's much easier for them to get away with it,
Yeah.
unless there's an audit involved.
Well, I think those places when they have all the Indian places are all connected. They're all family. It's all
Hmm.
family. Those guys own like all of them. It's like there's hundreds of, and I never when I went back, they must have loosened up the laws on licensing. On every corner, there's one now. Like
Yes.
Sheldon Corm area,
Hmm.
every corner is a cigar shop. I mean, every corner.
Yep.
Uh, yeah,
Not counting the ones in the Puspatuck. We have two in about 1 mile radius.
yeah,
Both Indian. Both Indian.
yeah. If you go drive down Selden though, there's 20 of them. Selden Center
Wow.
Corm, 20 easy. There's
Wow.
20. I've never seen so many shops.
Hmm.
The weirdest one though, there was one that opened up right next to the sixth precinct, and when he first opened up, he had old cigars. I'm like, "Where'd you get these cigars?" He's like, "Well, my cousins they gave me cigars from their old storage, and they just put them all in this store in the beginning." And like,
Hmm.
yeah, some of them were good because they were aged cigars, like they hadn't been around for 5, 10 years, but some of them like they were like aged out, like the cellophane was so brown, but like you started having mold in the cigars, and
Right.
I wouldn't shop from there. It was you know. And he just put a couch in there. He's like, "Yeah, you can smoke in here." I'm like, "Is it a lounge though?" He's like, "No, but you can smoke it." So I was smoking a cigar in there, and like, but it wasn't. There was no humidification, no ventilation. So
Right.
like, just lighting up at Walmart. It was a weird, you know, it was a weird thing. I don't know. It's kind of like those guys do whatever they want. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. There's no lounges really too close to my house. Closest one is on what is it, 112
Good,
Medford, I think. Yeah.
you got Goodfellas. That place
That's
is because that's right next to that's right above an indoor shooting range. So when
yes.
the Goodfellas underneath you, all you hear is gunshots.
Right.
So it's a weird, it's uncomfortable because like, what if something by accident shoots up?
Mm. That's the closest one to my house, actually.
Yeah, I'm check. No, there's one in
And then there's
one in
one
Miller.
on Sunrise, but it's a little bit further.
Yeah, Miller Place has a lounge.
Do they?
It's a dive though. It's a dive. I'll tell you what. What's one of the best ones? You got to go in Nassau County to like Franklin Square, like on
Hmm.
off of, Sunrise Highway over there, or Merrick Road, and it looks like a big white building. Did you ever go to that one?
No.
I'll
Mm.
get the name of it if you ever over that. His selection it's not a humidor. The whole place is a humidor. If that makes any sense.
Hmm.
So I mean, his selection is massive, but then he has a private room that's sealed in a glass by glass. You can smoke in there,
Yeah.
but it's a cool. That he
That,
has a really good selection.
that's how Corona is in Tampa. The whole place is a humidor.
Yeah,
It's not separate.
yeah, that
The
makes
bar is huge. The seating area is monstrosity, and
yeah,
then all the cigars. It's all on the same floor.
yeah.
It's not cordoned off or anything.
But it bothers me when I go back because the prices are in Long Island lounges is astronomical.
Hmm. Yes.
Always were bad, but now dude, I was last time I went there. They had Inspirato Macanudo for $14.99. I was like, "Are
Mm.
you crazy? That's a $6, $7 cigar."
Mm.
He's like, "No, that's the price." And I'm like,
It's the tax. I feel bad. Like I want to support the local, brick and mortars, but I can't pay 3 times the price.
"Dude, they were selling Monty. Oh yeah, Padron 64. The place in Oakdale. There's a place. A nice guy. It's a bunch of retired cops, and they started a cigar shop over there, right next to the steakhouse. So Oakdale on Sunrise Highway,
Hmm.
exit 48. Right there. Um, it's a nice lounge. They do well, but they had Padron 64 for $35. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, that's what you're gonna pay. I mean, Leva Milano V is like $22, and you're like,
Hmm.
and then when you get them online for $5, you're like, I'll see. That's what people realize. Richie gives you. He gives you. You can smoke at home. I'm saving you money. I'm saving
Yeah.
you. Uh, you know, and I hate to say, it, like, if you go to a lounge, you want to smoke two cigars, you're gonna drop $50. Like that gets expensive. That gets. Yeah, that gets.
Yeah.
and you might want to eat. You got to orders at Matadors. Dude, we would have sushi delivered. It would be easy for Matadors to drop
Right.
100. You smoke 2 nice cigars and you order sushi, and they'll bring over the sushi guys who bring over the boat. You know, the sushi boat. They
Yep.
just
Yep.
they just bring over the sushi boat, drop it off, bring all the stuff, and then you call them when we're done. They come back and pick up. I mean, that was pretty cool. But you're dropping money. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. The only Matador I've been to is the Hop Hog.
That's the best one. The one in what's the one the North Shore of Nassau County? Roslyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Roslyn one is nice, but they don't have the same selection though. It's smaller
I
selection.
I think it's they have another one in PA. I think it's in PA. It's either that or it's on a border. It's in New York, right near PA.
I
One
didn't
or
know.
the other. Yeah.
The only
One.
ones I know is Southwick is Hop Hog.
Mhm.
Massapequa, which is the Massapequa one, it's mobbed up. It's all like gangsters or wannabe gangsters. Like
Right.
it's some serious guys in the Massapequa one. And then Roslyn, which is all like snooty like businessmen. And then there's the one in Brooklyn, which is the Davidoff store. But
Yeah.
that's owned by the same by managers.
Right. Right.
They got some big money, man. Just to have those lounges there.
Yeah.
What's his name? I forget his name. He's a Russian guy. His name. What's his name? He's a Russian businessman, and he's the guy that runs all of them. He owns it.
Right.
Davidoff makes a cigar just for them. It's called the Brooklyn Davidoff.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So last time I was there, they had a Brooklyn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not sure if they're on the 3. It was actually a good cigar, man. It
Was it?
felt Liga number 9 was made by Davidoff. It was really nice. That was one of my favorite Davidoffs. And back then it was $20. I'm sure the price went up.
Mm.
Everything's gone up. I mean, now you go to over there, Davidoffs are going to cost you $40, $50.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I mean, a regular one. It's not fun. Uh, the good
Yeah.
shop, it's a good shop that has actually pretty good prices. If you're ever on Ronkonkoma Avenue, just north of the expressway, so you take Ronkonkoma Avenue, you get
Mm-hmm.
up the expressway on the left hand side. It has like a beer lotto place, and they sell like beer and lotto, but they actually have a big walk-in humidor, and he actually has pretty good prices on like Melanios and like party. It's like regular stuff,
Right. Right.
but his Padron prices,
Yeah.
the regular
Yeah.
Padron prices are enough. So I don't like getting gouged on those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any shops that I've been to on Long Island, they never have the new releases.
Interesting.
Maybe a year from now. Still no golden era. The shops
Not
are over here. Still don't have them.
You'd have to probably Matadors is pretty good, but you don't go to Matadors that much, right?
No, no, it's a little bit of a
It's,
hike.
and it's expensive. So they're pretty good on new releases, but you're gonna pay out your ass. You're
Yeah,
gonna. It's a lot. I mean, last time I went there too, I was really. I mean, Atabay's there are $58 now.
yeah.
So it's like. I mean, I see the change, and there was the old guy that used to run it. Everyone loved, and he
Hmm.
retired. I think his name I forget his name. And since he retired, all the guys that I used to go there, they left the shop because the guy that runs it, he's a douchebag,
Right.
and the guy smokes Asylum 13, and so he'll smoke one every day. He'll take like 6 hours of smoking. He keeps on relighting it with the torch.
Oh,
And this guy, it's almost like he's mocking the cigar community. And like
right, right.
and nobody like they used to keep it open late past work. If people were busy, they would stay
Hmm.
open. They just throw the girls some extra money, and
Right.
but that's over now with this new guy. If they close at 10 at 9:30, he's like, "All right, guys, don't light another one because we're closing in 15." Like, like
Yeah.
nobody. If you're gonna be buying the book in New York, you're gonna lose business.
Yep. Even Goodfellas stays open late.
Oh, I think that place they do poker games there.
Yep. I was gonna say that in the back room.
Yeah, Goodfellas. Goodfellas. I played poker there before.
Yeah.
Uh, they that's this all. I didn't like their selection. The selection was terrible.
No, it's not that great.
No, no.
No.
But I think it's a place for guys to hang out. You know, I think the future. I think private clubs that don't sell cigars, so there's no you bring your own, but you just pay to hang out. That's the best thing to do because then you could have girls there and serving you a drink or something because you bring your own, but they bring you in a cup of ice and whatever.
Right.
That's the probably better, more relaxing and you can bring your own stuff, and then you don't have to worry about the gouging and everything. Let's say they charge everyone $20 to hang out for the night. It'll be cheaper to bring your own cigars and then
Yeah. When I go to one of those lounges, I buy something that I wanted to try on the cheaper side,
yeah,
throw it in my box, and then smoke everything else I brought.
yeah,
I'll support them a little bit. I'm not going to smoke it because it's too wet, and I'll bring my own cigars.
yeah. Most places will let you do that, but I think some places they won't let you bring anything. Now,
Yeah.
the reasons why they say that is because guys will bring and not buy anything. That's you're not supposed to do
Right.
that.
No, that's bad etiquette, I
Yeah.
think.
I think I remember one place I went to back in the day had it's like a corking fee. So like, all right, you could smoke your cigar you want to bring, but it was $10. Okay, whatever. So you bring what you want, and you just like a cutting fee. You know what I'm saying? Though?
Yeah, in Nashville, we went to a place like that.
Yeah,
They gave us an option. It was $10 cutting fee, 10 or
yeah,
15, or you could buy like 3 cigars from this bin, and it was to go to the Cigars for Warriors.
right.
So we did that,
And you smoke, yeah,
and
because
we smoked our own.
the cigar shops, the lounges are too wet, bro. I couldn't believe the last place I went to, and this is a nice shop, 80% humidity, 77 degrees. I mean, I'd never seen cigars more squishy in my life.
Right?
You know, I wouldn't. He had Ligas for like $21. I was gonna buy them, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even want them at that point to dry them out because I worry about mold or if you dry out a cigar that was really wet, it's still gonna have that damp. Uh,
Yeah.
it's never gonna go away.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's
Yeah, Nashville has some nice lounges. If you're ever in Nashville, that's where I met. I went and had a cigar with him. John Hubert from Crownheads.
I've talked to him on the phone.
Have you? I went and met with him. He's
No,
he's a good, he's a good guy.
he was a nice.
And Blanco cigars. I can't remember his first name.
Jose Blanco.
No, not Jose Blanco. He's the one that makes them for that guy's cigar obsession. He makes his cigars for him.
And
What the
that's
hell's
another
his name? It's in Florida.
cigar obsession. He's only one on now. He's only on Rumble. Was he on?
Rumble. I think he's on Rumble. I used to watch him, but I don't watch him anymore. When he was on YouTube, I used to watch him. He used to always pop up.
Yeah, he was the Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
He had the same thing. Hi guys, he had the cigar. And he was the staple. He was the biggest one.
But
And
but the difference is he never told you what was bad, or
yeah,
never told you this is a horrible cigar. I want the truth.
yeah, no, he was a sellout, and
Hmm.
he. I think he got a lot of paid promotions. Just
Hmm.
it's the kind of thing of like he was getting a lot of free shit, and well, he was in it for the business, I guess. And once he lost the commercials, he was out. So
Yeah.
I don't blame you. He was doing it for business, and if that was his mindset, I mean, I get it. I
Mm.
remember because how is everyone else still making YouTube? The difference is like even like mine. I barely on my episodes. I barely get commercials. Like they'll give me a little bit of commercial money, but it's like nothing. So because
Right.
they put ads with tobacco, which is like
Yeah. I forgot what the guy's first name is, but the company's name is Blanco.
oh, he's a
And
jockey. He's a jockey.
Blanco is the guy's name. He has a whole cigar line. And I met him when I was in Clearwater once. Went and had cigars with him at his warehouse.
Yeah, Florida
Um,
mecca for cigars.
yeah.
Yeah, Florida is. Yeah, Florida's doing well, man. A lot of people are moving to Florida.
Yep.
That's uh, that's a good place. Who knows if we'll stay here in Colorado? I don't know.
Yep.
But all right, man. I'm gonna close it up,
All
man.
right.
Coming on. Always good having you on.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem.
you coming on Clutch.
Thank you.
More quiet night tonight, but I can't control that. I mean, it's weird. Some nights it's hopping here, and I didn't get to put any. I only put like 2 guys in the dome. The Geo
Right.
left, but Geo's not reliable. He's probably clapping cheap. Josh is reliable, but Josh is a little crazy. And stop eating chicken nuggets, all right? All right, bro.
All right. All right. So what happened last night with Chewy?
Say again?
Did you put yourself in a dome last night?
No, I don't know how it happened. I don't know how it happened. It just all of a sudden nobody could hear me.
No, not at all.
I don't know. I can't explain it.
I started thinking you were playing around.
No,
I'm like, nah, he's fucking with us right now.
no. I was
We're
getting.
we're playing charades.
I was gonna go. But then I saw Chewy. I was like, let me throw Chewy on. He hasn't been on in a while, and
Right.
then he couldn't hear me. So it made funny at the end, but
It did.
but I was dead serious. Like,
Uh,
if we can't talk, I mean, then it just ruins the whole.
yeah.
Yeah, it ruins it, But
Well, you made fun out of it.
yeah, that's it, man.
That's all that matters.
Come on, always good content, man. Always good talking.
Yep.
To you. Learn
All
a
right.
lot
Cool.
about the fire department and some Uber stories. Always a good time, brother.
Oh yeah.
All
All
right,
right. Cool. Thank you.
all right.
You have a good night.
Take care.
All
And
right.
what would you give that cigar you smoked? 4.1.
4.0 or 4.1. Yeah, I
So
go with that.
reliable.
It's not incredible.
No, but if you got it for $5-6, you know.
Yeah. I am gonna order a couple of Connecticut's, a couple of Habano, and a couple of Maduro. I want to try all of them.
Try to get them in the Corona size and see. I think that's the best size.
Yeah.
Not really that strong because of the lower primings for the lower price. But if
Right.
you get a smaller size, it might be a little more. They're better than Perla Del Mar. I would say Perla Del Mar is a direct competitor at that
Okay.
like entry level mid tier cigar, and I'd say those are better. The Perla Del Mar puts a nicer band on them and they box press them,
Right.
but Perla Del Mar can be enjoyed, but they're definitely on the edgy, dirty side. Where
Hmm.
and let worse construction. Where the Charter Oak, I feel, it's a good low mid tier. I would call it entry mid tier, but
Yeah.
don't. If I wouldn't pay more than like $5-6. If you can get them online for like $4,
I'm sure.
but,
Yeah.
but like these, I paid $3.80 for this. So like,
Yeah.
cigar bit is, cigar page is, dude. I'm never going to shops again. Like
Yeah.
guys been so generous, so I haven't been to shops in a while. But like, even when I'm running low on that, I just got 10 of these, and in probably about another 2-3 weeks, I'll spend another $40,
Right.
and I'll be good for like 3 weeks. Like, I'll pay $3.80.
Yeah, I told you I got a box of 10 Oliva V Maduro, 46 gauge. So I guess that's like a Corona.
Yeah.
For it was a little bit under $50, something like that.
You can't beat that.
No,
It makes you laugh when you look at a shop. They're like, yeah, $15. You're like, the shop here in the city had this cigar, same cigar for $24. I was like,
no.
no. All right, man. I'll see you around, brother.
All right, I'll see you.
Take care.
All right.
God bless.
Good night.
Peace out.